toting, Bible reading, God believing, truth speaking, American. This MAGA season, Democrats committing treason. I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with. This for free thinkers only. You ain't got no membership. They free. General Flint out the cage, cause he innocent. Barton Roger Stone, cause the run know that he innocent. We need to kick out every single illegal immigrant. Mandatory voter ID laws we need to implement.
Greetings. I am Thomas Hayward Jr., planter, judge, and patriot of South Carolina. I was young when I signed the Declaration of Independence, barely in my 30s, but I had seen enough of tyranny to know that justice, true justice, demanded action. Tyranny had no place in a land that called itself free. I signed for South Carolina, for my neighbors, and for every soul who deserved a voice in their own government, and I paid the price. In 1780, the British captured me during the defense of Charleston. I was imprisoned in St. Augustine, taken from my family, my home, and my land. But they could not take my resolve. I was one of only 5 signers of the Declaration to actually be imprisoned by the British. And yet, like the others, I refused to recant, refused to bow. Even behind bars, I upheld my pledge. And after the war, I returned to my land and to my duty. I helped rebuild a battered South Carolina, even composing the state's first constitution. Remember this, friend. Liberty survives only when it is defended. I signed in a time of war. You must stand in a time of peace, so that freedom endures.
How did you like that, Jimmy?
I did like that. That was good.
Yeah. So PragerU is like working with the White House to put out these little clips of every signer of the Declaration of Independence for, July the 4th. So it's a whole thread, and I'm going to play them as our intros for the whole month of July. And not only signers of the Declaration of Independence, but also like founding mothers, Martha Washington, Betsy, I think her name was Ross, the one who did the flag. But it's a video just like that. It's like they come alive. So this is
That's cool.
Now this is how I like AI being used. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like the fact in the clip that he pointed out, or it pointed out, that this guy lost his family, his land. He was in prison. There's a lot of people that signed the Declaration of Independence that lost their life. And so, we're sitting here. I like at the end where it says, you're defending it in a time of peace. Well, we're not at a full blown war, so to speak, like they were. And they were able to defend liberty and stand up for the Constitution during that time. It should be a lot easier for us to do it today.
Yeah, and it is. And you see, that's what they should be teaching kids in school. Videos like this, who educate you about all of the people who signed the Declaration of Independence, why they did it, how they did it, who they were, like life back then. I love that kind of stuff, especially movies depicted in that time period, like the wars, or like all those, even Abraham Lincoln. They have really good movies about him. This is what I like to see. This is what I want to see. And if any of you guys remember how I told you, like, I am really like a constitutionalist, this is what I want to see even in politics, not only in the education system, but politically. We should know all of the people who signed. We should know the dates of independence. We should know certain things. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I feel like I still don't know those things. So,
because the school system has dumbed us down for so long that they don't want people knowing these things. They don't want us knowing our history. And so, it's funny when, they do little skits on the streets or whatever, asking college students, basic questions, and they can't answer them. Like, how many continents are there? What what state is South Carolina in? They've asked that question, and oh my God, I really hope they're acting. I really hope they're acting, but I'm afraid that they're not. There's a lot of people out there that just don't know this basic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, welcome to everybody in the chat. We have already 42 people watching on both channels, and we just started. So that's
Nice.
great.
Are you streaming this on X as well?
No, I'm not.
Did you forget about doing that?
No, actually, it's because I'm not verified anymore. Remember, I was just doing like a trial one for 1 month.
That's right.
Yeah, I was just
Okay.
like testing it to see, but I've just like stuck with YouTube, and maybe in the future I might reignite the X, and then if people follow Facebook, we could do their that destination as well.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, that's still an option. I really want to do it.
All right. So before we say hi to everybody in the chat, there's a severe thunderstorm watch a warning that's been put into our place. So if it gets really bad here, I'll just mute myself, and that way y'all don't hear all the rain and everything. And tonight is the last night that I will have to leave about 9:25, 9:30 to say bye to my lovely wife as she goes off to third shift. This is the last week she's going to be on third shift, so that's wonderful. We can get back to a regularly scheduled program. So that's all I got.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys a minute. Enter the chat right now if you haven't done so already, so we can give you a shout out, say hello, and kill a couple minutes so that Jimmy can go do that and come back, and then we can start. I have a good list in the title, if you guys see it, of a couple of crazy things that we're gonna really dive into, maybe around 10. I think usually you take about an hour, maybe, like in the news, and then maybe
it won't take me that long. Enoch, like I told you, I'll tell the viewers, Enoch has started posting the news blasts again, but he's been really behind. So the last ones he's done was Monday of last week and Tuesday of last week. So I do want to go over those because I still think it's important. I didn't go all the way back to like 2 weeks ago because no one's really paying attention to that because the news cycle moves so fast.
Yeah.
But there's still some stuff in this one or these that is pretty relevant, and we can talk about them.
Okay, yeah, and we've also had like maybe off screen conversations of our own on Facebook Messenger. You've sent me some videos, I've sent you some stuff. We've had a little back and forth about what's going on right now, because I keep asking you, hey Jimmy, is this the scare event? Is this the scare event? I keep saying stuff, and I'm like, what? It's like I'm looking for the prophecy to be fulfilled or something. I'm like, what is it, Jimmy? What is it?
Yeah, that last one, the whole Idaho, I think it was in Idaho.
Yeah.
Ruby sent me a text with the story, and then she said, is this a scare event? And I said, no, it's not big enough.
And that's pretty shocking because I forgot to put Idaho on here because I still want to talk about that. Well, maybe for your news, we could dive into that. That's pretty scary. Like, that's pretty crazy for somebody to do even that. So,
well, if you think about it, what does a cornered animal do? When an animal is cornered and they have no way out, what do?
Attack.
And so I'll just leave it at that. Y'all can take from that what you want.
And what bothers me is I think I saw a headline that said that it already came back, that he had like neo-Nazi characteristics or something like that, or leanings or something. And it's like, once again, they don't fail, honestly. They always use the same narrative for these shootings or these mass shootings, or I'm like, what is going on?
And they're counting on the mass of people to not make that connection. I mean, they've been doing the same playbook. And I'm sorry, if you can't see the playbook now, I really don't know what to tell you. Because it's the same. I mean, It's the same thing.
Yeah. And you know, it's not only in politics or the news. I mean, and Tony knows this. She's in the chat. Hey, Tony. I've been binge watching Chicago PD from season 1 all the way up until season 12, right? And it's a cop
Right.
show, right? If you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And you could tell from the very, very beginning how even in the police stuff, there and then you could tell, like, when it started, it was like 2014, right? Everything was normal still, like relatively to normies. And then as soon as 2020 hit and the BLM stuff happened, they put that in the storyline of the show, of the plot, of everything. And I started noticing, like, what season am I in? What year did this come out? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And then
Yeah, I mean, we have played so many clips on the history of this show
Mhm.
about videos or television shows, movies showing that predictive programming. We've shown
Mhm.
tons of them, and it's amazing that when you do start watching TV or you're watching a movie and you're aware of this stuff, you start seeing it in the movie. Whereas if you
Yeah.
would have watched that same movie 10 years ago, you may
Mhm.
not have caught on to it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, have you seen the clip from Bug's Life?
Yes. No, but even when I first saw that as a normie, I took it. I got the hint. I was like, oh wow, this is powerful.
Can you find that? Well, can we play that clip for the folks that may not have seen it? I mean, it's a good, segue and kill some time a little bit here.
Okay, so
But that is an awesome clip.
Yeah.
And I think Bug's Life came out, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, 1998, maybe?
I think so. Mm-hmm. Bug's Life clip of ants
Standing up.
standing up.
Well, I would throw that in there. So while you're doing that, hello everyone in the chat. Y'all know I have to actually switch screens to be able to see the chat. But thank you all for being here this evening. We appreciate you guys tuning in and watching us, listening to our rants, listening to the information that we put out. And I really do hope.
Stood up to.
Okay, never mind.
So
I was getting ready to say, I really do hope folks take some of this information and go look at it on their own as well. So.
Yes. Okay, so this clip is when he's saying that they might all stand up to us. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch it.
There was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him. Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Puny. Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Are you kidding?
Well, how about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay?
Okay, that's a good one though. But I was thinking of a different one.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's the same movie, but I mean that's powerful.
yeah, I mean, basically, a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, what does my voice matter? I'm just one person." Blah 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 blah. Okay, so if everybody took that attitude, then there'd be nobody standing up to the elites, and we shouldn't even call them the elites because they're not elite. They're, but if everybody took a stand, if everybody stood up against the system, I don't care what side of the aisle you're freaking on, right, left, whatever, But if everybody stood up to the system that's in place, then we can actually do something about it. As that grasshopper said, it will destroy our way of life. And we do. The humanity as a whole, we outnumber these people.
Yep.
But like he said, they're, as he said in the clip, they're too stupid to figure that out. Or something to that effect.
If they do figure that out.
If they do figure, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, imagine if 8 billion people said, you know what, I want my voice heard, I'm going to say something about this, and start speaking out about it. And then doing something where you can. Not everybody is able to, run for a local office or, a state position or anything. There's, everybody has different skills, but everybody can do something.
Right. I mean, that whole movie, because there is another scene that I am thinking of. I'm gonna have to find it, and then next Tuesday I'll show it, because there is another scene where he is standing up to them, and there's a mini civil war between the two. It's like a power struggle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the main character, Ant, he stands up to them, and then he rallies everybody to come behind him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you need to find that clip. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. And I remember watching that as a kid, and even thinking then that was like it was a powerful moment.
It just kind of went over my head back then.
Really?
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking about political stuff and stuff, late 1990s, early 2000s. I was kind of in party mode, work mode. I wasn't paying attention.
Exactly, which is 90% of everybody here too. I mean, in the world, not here literally, but like all around the world. So it is 9:25 if you need to step out and.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic because it just started raining. I got to grab the umbrella and go check on the wife. So give me 5-10 minutes and I'll be back.
All right, I'll pull you back up when you come back. I'll just let you hang out backstage for a minute. In the meantime, I am going to start saying hello to everybody in the chat. So hop in the chat right now. Let's see. Welcome. I see a new person in the chat. Terry Baker, welcome. She says, we were taught not to get involved in politics. Yeah, exactly. And that's why now I am more interested, passionate, motivated, more than ever. And I think it's because they suppress that so much. Because secretly I used to love that, like the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem and being patriotic and all of it I used to love. And it was hell with, like, you would almost feel bad if you did it. Like, oh, I did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, I'm done with that. Let's see. Fighter of Truth, welcome. Good to see you too. Steen is in the chat. Thrifty, Linda James, Dallas. Nice to see you guys. Okay, I'm scrolling up. John Marciano, always here. Beverly, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Illegal Immigrant is in the chat. Yo, even the trolls came early tonight. Who else came early? We got Illegal. Who else? Let me see. Justin, welcome to the chat. Jane, Lisa Sands. Let's see. Fighter of Truth. The interview with Peter Thiel on CNN is scary. He was talking about transforming humans to robots. What? He is an evil billionaire who now has all of our data thanks to Musk and Doge. Fighter, you need to post the link of that interview that you're talking about onto our Facebook page or group if you aren't already on it, because I am interested to see that, on my free time. King Tony in the chat. Okay, who else? Yo, Jeff Windy, the second troll to come early. I saw you. I saw you earlier. Spyro, welcome. AI is the next frontier of human programming. I'm covering this on my streams. It's demonic in nature. Whoa. It makes people think they're gods and fall in love with it. This all goes deeper. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is kind of weird and scary and also disgusting because I saw those headlines where this guy was like engaged to his like chat AI or whatever. I don't know. It was just a weird headline. I was like, yo, what is going on? It's and remember when iRobot came out? I think that was again programming us to kind of accept a world like that or to start thinking about worlds like that. I don't know. I hate it all. I hate it all. All right, let's see. JG. Hey, JG. Who else? Joe and Fran. Hi, Joe and Fran. All right. Susan, welcome. Let's see who else is here. I'm scrolling all the way up, guys, so I'm going to try to get everybody. J-Man United, Chad. Hey, guys. Well, I'm so happy you guys came here early because it's about to get real in a minute. Yes, I'm so glad you caught one. Okay, let's see who else. Who else? Steen says, Ruby, watch the series Timeless. They have people like Abraham Lincoln and Harriet Tubman stories in it as they try to fix history. Nice. Okay. I'm going to see if I could find that. Thank you for the suggestion. All right. Let's see. Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Oh, Lord. Zohran running for New York City mayor is a former rapper. I know. And I am going to show the clips, guys. It's about to get crazy. And a Muslim, but professes to be democratic socialist. He really is a full-blown Marxist. I know. And I've had this good conversation. Welcome back to the stage, Jimmy. Just unmute yourself. Awesome. Hi, Rosie.
All right. I'm back.
All right. I think I am rapping. Oh, Nadine. Hi, Nadine. Butterfly Queen 62. Who else? Who else? I'm scrolling all the way up so I can say hello to everybody at least once. Oh, Slavic.
Y'all let me know if I get distorted with the rain, okay? If y'all can't hear me or something, just go ahead and let me know when that happens. So
yeah, I can't hear nothing. I can't hear no rain or nothing. No background noise at all. So you're good. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I think I got everybody so far. Yep, I got everybody. Awesome, guys. Oh, Born JW says hello to you. Let's see. All right, guys. Oh, Lance is back. Welcome back, Lance. Uh-huh. John C. Mitchell Jr. Welcome to the chat. And I think, Dehydrated Nurse is here. Okay, the gang is here. Mostly everybody is here. Perfect. This is good. This is great. Are you ready, Jimmy?
yeah, after we do the Enoch stuff here, I want to play that clip that I sent you where that lady's talking. I said, and to be fair and balanced, you know, we played a clip of Nick Fuentes last week, but I sent Ruby a clip that I thought would be good for everybody to listen to as well. And you decide for yourself what you want to believe out of it. So I want to play that after I do the news blast. If that's okay.
Got you. I got the clip ready for you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna hold on.
Where's our news intro?
Yes, here it goes. All right, let's get ready for the news with Jimmy Bell. Welcome,
good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the news.
Yes, welcome to the news broadcast with Jimmy Bell, coming out of North Carolina. Go ahead, Jimmy. You're on the air.
Thank you, Ruby. So to have a little bit of the news blast is better than not having anything at all, which has been the case for the last 2 weeks. And to be honest with you all, I have missed it. I know Enoch is out doing his thing across the country right now. I know he's having a blast. But daggone Enoch, we need the news blast. So, and I'm trying to find another person that does kind of the same thing, just so we can have a backup. I ain't been able to find anybody yet. So, but anyway, so we're going back to Monday of last week and Tuesday of last week. Those are the latest updates that we have from Enoch. So we're going to discuss those. Now, some of these y'all have already seen it. It's already been in the news. But if you want to talk about it, put that in the chat. Let us know. There's a few things that, are still ongoing stories. So let's dive in. Monday, June 23rd. Trump announces historic Iran and Israel ceasefire agreement to end the 12-day war. So that was last Monday. The only thing I want to say about this, because I'm not going to go off on a tangent on this whole Iranian thing, because we said a lot about it last week. I don't think it's over. I think there's going to be some other stuff that happens. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But what I can say is for everybody that was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday last week, freaking out that World War III was getting ready to start. Can you tell me where boots on the ground in Iran are? U.S. boots on the ground. Are we there? Has there been an escalation? No. So the only thing I can say is folks freak out about this stuff, get themselves worked up, and then like a week later, no one's talking about it. So that's why I try not to get worked up about these things when they pop off. So anyway, that's what I want to say about that. Supreme Court allows Trump to swiftly deport certain immigrants to third countries. And I know some folks have said, well, why won't he send them back to their home country? Why does he got to send them back to a third country? Well, a lot of these home countries don't want these people back. So there are other countries that have struck deals with Trump to say, hey, we'll take them. And they have a deal. I'm sure there's some money involved or some. Yeah, my lights are flickering, so I might run out of power. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so that's why. Security guard kills Michigan church gunman, preventing large-scale mass shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't hear about that one.
Was it at a church?
It says security guard kills Michigan church gunman.
Yes. Yes. Yep, I saw that clip. That was crazy. Yeah.
All right, so I missed that. So there was a mass shooting last Monday, and then we have the mass shooting in Idaho.
Yeah. Yep.
So
exactly. Starting up again. It's summer.
Yeah, are we going to start seeing a pattern in the news blast about mass shootings?
Yeah.
We will see.
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy says health insurers promise to change prior authorization process. And there's been a lot of information that's come out, especially in the last 2 days, about, let's just say, a jabby jab thing, not the CV one, but I think it was hepatitis B, that there was a 1,135% increase in autism because of that. So y'all can go look that up. That's out there as well. Top drug regulator is retiring as FDA departures mount. So we've talked about that before, about a lot of these different CEOs and people in top positions in government agencies like the FDA, the CDC, the WHO. A lot of these people are just leaving. I wonder why. Trump doesn't. Oh, Lord, here we go. It's still good? Do y'all hear anything?
No, you're good. You're fine. I don't hear nothing.
Okay. I feel like I'm like yelling. Trump doesn't believe Iran hid uranium before the strikes. So just my analyst, or not analyst, but just my opinion on this. A lot of people have come out and have tried to say that Iran may have hid this stuff, that they knew something was coming, which actually they did have a 2-hour warning. I saw that put out on one of the somebody else's page, that they had a 2-hour warning before the strikes. Now, 2 hours is not going to allow them to move uranium or anything like that. So, but I don't believe they were able to do it. And if you want to listen to the reasoning why, go find the Wright Report, WRIGHT, the Wright Report. And he does a report every morning, 25, 30 minutes. And yesterday's episode was about this subject and how it would be difficult for the Iranians to be able to move the stuff. Satellite images show extent of U.S. bombing damage to Iran nuclear sites. 8 dead after boat capsizes in Lake Tahoe. I think I saw a clip on that, but I actually thought it was fake. Where they said like there was like this big ass storm that just blew up on Lake Tahoe and surprised everybody.
I didn't hear a thing about that, so that's
I saw a clip on it last night, and I was like, okay, is this real? So maybe it was real.
Mm-hmm.
Americans in Qatar are told to shelter in place. I know there was a lot of concern about Iran bombing our military base in Qatar, but I'll go ahead and let you know that our airmen and I do believe, with what I've heard, that was allowed to happen so Iran could save face with their people. I don't know how.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, but the news, how did the news present it? The news presented it like, oh my God, Iran is bombing a U.S. military base.
Right. And then when you do your research, you find out that they gave a warning as well for everybody to evacuate. So they're bombing an empty site just to save face. And I get that. But like I told Jimmy in private messaging, why the heck do we even have embassies to begin with in other countries? And I know that you guys agree with supporting, like us, our involvement in other countries. But to me, I am like, we shouldn't even have an embassy over there to begin with. So
yeah, sorry I'm leaning in like this, everybody. But it's raining really good now, and I have a metal roof, so all right. So I can't hear anything. All right, we still good? Thumbs up. Okay. Iran's retaliatory strike on U.S. base in Qatar, a symbolic attack. That was the next line. B-2 bombers from Iran mission return home to Missouri. Okay, Ruby, I'm going to mute my mic. We're going to have to take a pause, everybody, because I can't hear crap, and I feel like I'm yelling. And so hopefully this will be passed soon. But I'm going to jump off for a second. Y'all carry on.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Well, I will go to the comments. So let's see. So Chad was talking about that it was a big storm. Boats beached. All right. Steen says a boat was hit by a wave at sea. No. Okay, so I'm going to have to look up what that storm was because I didn't hear anything about that storm. Hi, Seth. Seth is in the chat. He says, we just had a big-ass surprising storm pop up here in the Ozarks for the second time in 2 months. Lots of damage, lots of power out, trees down, etc. It's never this bad here. Second time in 2 months. Wow. Thrifty says, raining cats and dogs. Yes. Oh, man. Poor Jimmy. He can't hear nothing. Jane says, Jimmy, we can talk without you. Be lucky, be safe. Oh, man, Jimmy. So let me know what you want to do, Jimmy, because I don't know, you can't hear me, but we can hear you just fine. Like if you just talk regular, it's perfectly fine. Like you don't even have to yell. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just when I'm trying to do the talking, it feels so, it's bad. It's bad right now. So let me just hang out for a second. I apologize to everybody.
Okay, so do you want me to kind of move on to a different subject then? Because, oh no, we could play the video. You want me to play the video?
Yeah, go ahead and play that video.
Yes, perfect. Oh my God, like, what am I thinking? This is a perfect time for the video, guys. All right. And this video is, let's see how long this video is.
It's 2 days after
Okay, this video is 13 minutes, so this should be really great.
President Trump walked out of the G7 summit in Calgary, flying back to Washington in the dead of night to deal with the Israel-Iran crisis. But what happened before he left has the global elite in full panic mode. Most people think this is just about Iran and Israel, but what you're witnessing is something far bigger. Trump is systematically dismantling the post-war British imperial system, and he's doing it while delivering the largest blue-collar wage increases in 60 years. The empire's puppets can see their game is up. I'm Susan Kokinda, and I've been fighting this fight since 1971, when I joined Lyndon LaRouche's organization the day Nixon ended the Bretton Woods system. I've seen every attempt to break free from British imperial control, and I can tell you, what Trump is doing right now is unprecedented. So today, I'll break down what really happened at the G7 meeting, how Trump is navigating the Iran-Israeli crisis in ways most people don't understand, and how the British are panicking because Trump's economic and strategic revolution is working, and it can end the post-war globalist order if you understand it and support it. And you saw the headlines. Trump left the G7 summit in Calgary early, flying back to Washington to deal with the Israel-Iran crisis. But the real story is what Trump said before he left, right to the faces of the globalist elite. Standing next to Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, the very icon of post-war globalist economic policy, Trump called out the G7 for throwing Russia out of that institution in 2014. He said, the G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in it. I would say that that was a mistake because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. Let that sink in. Trump, in front of the whole world, told the architects of the post-war order that their entire system is the problem. And he's right. The G7 represents everything Trump is dismantling. When Trump says you threw Russia out, and that was a mistake, he's not just talking about Ukraine. He's saying your system is the problem. Your system creates war because the old world order needs enemies to survive. Trump wants partners. One of those partners is Russia. Trump has had 2 recent discussions with Vladimir Putin about the potential of Russia helping mediate the Israel-Iran crisis. One discussion was right before Israel preemptively attacked Iran, and the other one was on Saturday, after Israel had launched the attacks. Just today, TASS reported again that Russia is ready to mediate. Also remember that Russia continues to pinpoint the role of the British in aiding not only Ukraine in their drone attacks on Russia, but in assisting Israel in the Iran operation. Now, Bill O'Reilly said something very revealing in a News Nation interview on Monday. O'Reilly said the following: earlier today, I texted with President Trump. He doesn't want to use American air power at this point because that would cause problems with China and Putin. As most of you know, O'Reilly is not a fan of Xi Jinping or Putin. Earlier in the interview, he agreed with the hyperventilating host that the world would be better off without them. But what he said about Trump is what's key. In what world does the President of the United States care about causing problems with China and Putin? Not in Mark Carney's world, not in the world of the recent British Defense Strategy Report, which treats Russia and China as permanent enemies, not in the world of Lindsey Graham or Mike Pompeo. Donald Trump is committed to a new world of sovereign nations, not a world in which nations are pieces on the geopolitical chessboard to be moved or sacrificed by the global overlords. Look, there's a lot of political turbulence. There's warnings that Trump is selling out to the neocons or the Zionists. And on the other hand, you have the hardcore war hawks who want to excommunicate Trump supporters who don't want to go to war with Iran. They're all missing this. Trump is trying to untangle decades of imperial policy, and he's doing it out in the open. Trump is up against political leaders and movements at home and abroad who've been created by the British elites. Zionists, radical Islamic fundamentalists, neocons, not to mention all the crazies on the left side of the equation. These forces are loose in a world that Donald Trump has to deal with as he tries to take command of the situation while maintaining his commitment to defend the United States and reestablish it as a sovereign republic. And that's what terrifies the old world has-beens. But Donald Trump needs something else. He needs people here in the United States and around the world to cut through the ground level fog of war and see clearly this larger picture and the deeper principles. That's what we do at Promethean Action, and I encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter and become part of a community of people who can think and act strategically. So let's talk about Iran. Social media is a hotbed of rumors and fear-mongering. Is Trump caving into the neocons and the Zionists? I don't think so. Will the U.S. enter into this conflict if Iran refuses to budge? Well, Donald Trump has been pretty clear on that. And maybe by the time you watch this, that immediate question will have been answered. But the more durable question is, do you understand the principles at stake? In a recent tweet from Vice President J.D. Vance, I think you find that answer. He said, POTUS has been amazingly consistent over 10 years that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And over the last few months, he encouraged his foreign policy team to reach a deal with the Iranians to accomplish this goal. The president has made clear that Iran cannot have uranium enrichment, and he said repeatedly that this would happen one of two ways, the easy way or the other way. Vance goes on to explain that Iran could have civilian nuclear power, but they've continued to produce enriched uranium far above civilian needs, in violation of their obligations. And then Vance stresses, and of course, people are right to be worried about foreign entanglement after the last 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. But I believe the president has earned some trust on the issue. And having seen this up close and personal, I can assure you that he is only interested in using the U.S. military to accomplish the American people's goals. Whatever he does, that is his focus. And that's the difference between Trump and the neocons. The neocons and their British imperial controllers want endless war and perpetual regime change. Look at Iran and Israel, both hotbeds of British intelligence operations stretching back throughout the post-war period. In her Monday brief, Barbara discussed how the British, with plenty of help from the CIA, overthrew the Mossadegh government in Iran in the 1950s, put the Shah in, and then overthrew him when it suited their purposes, which led to the installation of the Islamic regime. Trump is committed to ending that, but you have to recognize that he and his relatively small team are dealing with a culture of war and regime change, which is deeply embedded in the intelligence and military institutions. But they're also doing something even more fundamental. Trump is threatening to replace the post-war liberal economic order with the most dramatic return to the American system in generations. While Trump was dealing with the global crisis, back home, his policies delivered something incredible. Blue-collar workers saw real wage growth of almost 2% in just his first 5 months, the largest increase for any administration in nearly 60 years. Treasury Secretary Bessent pointed out that the nearly 2% rise was unprecedented, and it was a result of the emphasis on manufacturing and commitment to remove illegal immigrants from the workforce. When ICE raided a meatpacking plant in Omaha, dozens of Americans showed up the next day to fill out job applications. That's how you restore the dignity of work. And the British Empire has spent centuries convincing Americans that prosperity requires imperial wars and cheap foreign labor. Trump is proving them wrong. But while Trump fights the global empire abroad, he does face sabotage at home. Right now, the same neocon Rhino collective in the Senate that's opposed peaceful settlements in Ukraine and Iran is trying to gut Trump's economic revolution. Trump's one big, beautiful bill represents the starting point of his economic revolution. But Senate Republicans infected with what I call the twin disease of perpetual war and libertarian free trade ideology are trying to water down the provisions that will help Trump's growing working class base. They're cutting Medicaid support, undermining the no tax on tips provision, and reducing the manufacturing incentives that could create up to 6 million blue-collar jobs. If they succeed in gutting this bill, they'll sabotage Trump's promise to American workers and potentially hand the midterm elections to Democrats. Now, here's where even Trump's best supporters fall short. They'll talk about the deep state, the war machine, and the CIA, and they're not wrong. But when Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon don't connect Trump's outreach to Russia and China with his broader strategy to destroy British imperial control, they leave people spinning their wheels. When Trump talks about working with Russia and China, he's not betraying American interests. He's building the coalition necessary to finally break British imperial hegemony. Think about it. Russia has vast natural resources. China has manufacturing capacity. And America has the technological and capital markets. Together, they represent a powerful combination, which could also include India, that would represent an alternative to the London-centered financial system that's dominated the world since World War II. And that's why the British are willing to risk World War III to stop Trump. They know that if he succeeds in creating a new alignment of sovereign nations, their centuries-old game is over. So the only way through this crisis is to recognize the deeper nature of this fight. It's the American system versus the British system. It's about whether we'll have a world of sovereign nations cooperating for mutual benefit or a world of endless wars designed to prevent any nation from achieving true independence. So don't get lost in the day-to-day noise, the Twitter hysteria, or the media's apocalyptic analysis of every tactical move. What you're witnessing is the potential to destroy a 400-year-old imperial system and the birth of something new. When blue-collar workers get their biggest pay raise in 60 years, when Trump walks out on globalist institutions, when he reaches out to Russia and China to end imperial wars, these are not separate events. They're all part of the same strategy. Restore American sovereignty and help other nations do the same. That's where Promethean action comes in. We've been fighting this fight for over 50 years, and we understand both the enemy and the solution. While others get caught up in the tactical battles, we keep our eyes on the strategic prize, ending the British Empire once and for all. Hundreds of new subscribers have joined us recently because they recognize we offer something different: historical depth, economic understanding, and a strategic vision to navigate this transition. We just got halfway to our goal of reaching 1,000 paid members, and we need your help to give us the ability to do more videos and reach more people by achieving that goal. The old world is dying, the new world is being born. Let's make sure it's the world we want our children to inherit. So subscribe, share this video, and join us in making history. The future belongs to sovereign republics, not global empires, but only if we fight for it. This has been your midweek update. Thanks for watching.
So, what'd you think?
I agreed with it. Like, I'm not against what she's saying. I can totally understand that viewpoint. But the main problem that we kind of already talked about last Tuesday is that how we always say to not believe the history that we've been taught, right? Like how Vance said, it's normal that somebody feels like that because we've had 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. So of course
Right.
people are going to be distrusting.
Right.
That's me. It's like, well, if I don't believe anything from ever, so why would I believe what they're saying now about Iran?
See, I get that. And there's a lot of people that feel that way. And they're like, well, it's the same old thing. But like for someone like me that's dug into so much stuff, and like this lady who's been doing it since 1971, apparently, it's like I try to look beyond what the news is reporting. I try to dig to see the strategics behind it, who's involved with it's. And once you go down that way, you start to look and, like for me, I'm like, okay, this is different than what has been happening. Because, and like with the Iran thing, I mean, normally people were expecting boots on the ground immediately because that's what we've seen. And now, as of right now, we're not seeing that. So for me, I'm like, okay, that's different than before. That's just one thing.
All right. So I mean, yeah, I agree with it. I am trusting that our president is doing what's in the best interest of America. So whenever I see that it isn't 100% or I don't have enough information to make that opinion, then I just kind of withdrew a little bit, which is what I explained 2 Tuesdays ago. It's like until I find out, it's like I don't think that this is in the best interest for us. But I'm trusting that he's doing the right thing for America.
And did I hammer you on that decision?
No, no.
And the reason why is because I'm like, everybody is on a different level of this whole awakening process. If you want, let's call it that tonight. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on a different level. And so you can't hammer people just because they're not where you're at. Some are way ahead of you. Some are way behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got you know what? Yeah. When you get in an airplane, and let's say for the first time you get in that airplane and you're scared. It's the first time you've ever been up. You are scared to death to be in that airplane flying at 40,000 feet in a little tube. Metal tube, but the thing is, you have to trust the captain, even though you're scared.
Yes.
This captain has flown this plane over 1,000 times. This is your first time on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So that captain has secured should have secured the trust in you, or at least give him a shot. Be like, you know what? I think this captain might know what he's doing. Maybe I don't need to be so afraid.
Yeah, I mean, and that doesn't discount the valid, feelings of anti-war, of don't get involved into other countries' problems, and don't be sending money or weapons, or don't get involved in this because we don't want to be, or I hope we don't want to be blood guilty as well. Like we want nothing of that. So it's like I don't think that there's a wrong answer. I just think like it's either you're left or you're right. Basically, you just take a stance and you go with it, and that's it. Like respectfully, like one person agrees with this and I don't. That's fine. But guess what? It's gonna happen anyways. Trump is still your president. So it's like, what are we still here arguing about? Like I would never argue with somebody about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to argue about every little thing that's happening right now, you're going to wear yourself out because we got 3.5 more years.
Yeah. And even after he's gone, the next guy is going to come in and do the exact same thing. I mean, if the foreign policy itself doesn't change, nothing is going to change. And that's with almost everything.
And see, that's why I like what that lady was saying, because she was giving people an area to go look, an area of information to go look into. Why did she say that it was the American system versus the British Empire? Why did she say that? Go find out why that's it. Did we really win the Revolutionary War?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, people have
Mm-hmm.
that question. Did we really win World War II?
No. And first of all, that's another lie in itself that
Yeah,
America
that's
won because supposedly more Russians died in that war. So technically, Russia won that with bodies. But I mean, I don't even understand our involvement with that one either. So that's a whole nother story for another day.
yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, because that to me was like, what the heck was going on during
Yeah,
this time? Like, what? I don't know. I'm I'm sick and tired of the world, but
that's
um
why you have to get some popcorn.
yeah, and you can't stress about every little thing. Like I keep telling people, okay, great. Like I don't care. I'm gonna wake up the next day and I'm gonna continue living my life. Like sorry, but the world goes on, life goes on. So it is sad what's going on, but what can we do?
All we can do is, first off, not live in fear. Two, live your life. And three, if you're in a position to help speak out, run for office, or whatever, do that. I do what I can. I'm just
Right.
hoping that there's a million other people plus some that are at least doing something to fight for the Constitution.
Right. And that's why I told Tony in a few days ago in one of our conversations is that even though like we can't do much, right? We're not millionaires, we can't sway elections or whatever. We're not influential like that. At least we have our own voices. So on your own platform, talk about it. Talk with your neighbors or volunteer for your party in your state or your county or something because if if I feel like, well, I can't do nothing about it, then that gives me anxiety. So I feel like, well, at least I could say something or do something locally that will help transform it maybe later on, maybe a few years from now or a decade from now, whatever it is. But I would feel like a hypocrite if I'm complaining about politics, but I'm not doing anything about it, or I'm not voting, or I'm not getting up and doing something, but yet I'm complaining about it, or I'm pissed off with it. Like, no, it would be hypocritical, in my opinion, for me.
Yeah, that's my, it drives me crazy when somebody is complaining about everything going on, but then you ask them, well, what are you doing about it? Well,
Right.
ain't nothing I can do. I'm just going to just do this. That's not helping.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Jimmy, do you have anything else on your news
Oh, yeah,
segment?
let's get back at the rain has passed.
Yes.
There's no flooding. We're good. Power stayed on. So
Mm-hmm.
let's pick up where we left off at. 145 people at France Music Festival report being pricked with syringes after online calls to target women.
Yep, I saw that.
DOJ on high alert for Iranian nationals living illegally in the U.S. And I think it was on Tuesday, there was a ring of Iranian nationals that were arrested, and then there was
Yep.
another set on Wednesday. So, that just didn't happen by chance. The
Mhm.
military has got the communications; they see this stuff, and they went out and got these guys. So, and I
Yeah.
do believe we're probably going to see more of that because so many people came across the border that weren't vetted. We, the public, we don't know who they were, but I guarantee
Mhm.
you somebody knows who they are.
Oh, of course they do. Like, stop playing with us. I mean, the
Yeah.
NSA, the FBI, the CIA, they all know us inside and out. I bet you anything that they know my blood type, and I don't even know my own blood type.
They don't know my blood type.
Yeah, like they know everything. Like every single visit you go to the hospital, every time you log into your computer or your phone, they know who you are, where you are, and what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let's go into Tuesday. We're going to talk more about this a little bit later in the show. Zohran Mamdani stuns Andrew Cuomo in New York City mayor primary race. Wow.
Yep.
Ceasefire between Israel and Iran appears to hold as Trump vents frustration with both sides as he dropped the F-bomb when he did, and we all saw that last week.
Mm-hmm.
20 injured in lightning strike at South Carolina beach. FBI returning agents to counterterrorism work after diverting them to immigration. Okay, I didn't know that. That's good. So the
Say, wait,
FBI.
wait. Yeah,
What's
yeah,
that?
explain that for a minute.
Okay, so the FBI is returning agents to counterterrorism work after diverting them to immigration. So basically, you had folks that were working on counterterrorism stuff, but then the FBI came in and said, nope, we don't want y'all working on that. We want you over here working on immigration.
Okay.
So now Kash Patel is returning the folks that were working on the immigration stuff, returning them back to counterterrorism.
Okay. Yes.
That's a good move. That tells me personally that the immigration thing, I think Trump has a handle on it.
Oh, of course. I mean,
And we're
they
going to
should
talk
be
about,
deputizing these people, right? Like, yeah.
yeah, I think there was something said about that in Florida today.
Yes, the National Guard. I think they're going to deputize them individually to be individual judges. That's what the headline said. So I would have to do research on that, but it would give them the power individually to take care of it. Like, you don't need to go through anybody. The National Guard will scoop you up and send you back ASAP.
Yeah, and I'm gonna write down something. Martha's Vineyard, because I want to bring that up when we go talk about Alligator Alcatraz.
Oh yeah, that's exactly where they're gonna send you. They're gonna send you straight there.
I just like saying that. Alligator Alcatraz.
Alcatraz.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I digress.
It's a tongue twister.
All right. In light of that, ICE arrests 11 Iranian nationals in 48 hours. So that's what I said a second ago.
Right.
Trump nominated for Nobel Peace Prize over Iran-Israel ceasefire deal. There's some dispute about that. One country had nominated, then somebody said they withdrew the nomination. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me at the moment. Anyway, prosecution and defense rest in Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did they come up with a verdict? Does anybody know in the chat?
I saw something earlier today that said they found him not guilty on 2 counts, but they're still deliberating about 3 or something. I tell you what, this dude better not get off.
Listen, don't be surprised.
But I'm not going to be surprised if he does get off, because if he does get off after everything everybody's seen,
right,
I think people are going to get pissed off.
Yeah, and I agree with Fighter in the chat. She says, I don't care about Diddy. I don't care about him as an individual. What I do care about is the greater network that he is a part of. And I believe it's a bigger network and a ring. And it's not just him. I think he's just the one who they want to take down. And because, he was probably a big name, famous, one of the big players. But there's a network out there that we need to uncover. So
I guess what you could say is you can hate the player,
right,
but you got to know what the game is.
And we know what it is, though. I mean, if you know, you know. And if you don't, buckle up, because it's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so to me, no, he needs to go.
And I guess my only word of caution would be, I mean, I understand somebody saying, well, this Diddy thing doesn't matter to me. But the only caution I will say is, we've kind of alluded to it, is just because you don't care about Diddy, don't let that keep you from learning why he's in there, what's being said, and how much bigger it is, and why that should be a concern for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, because of course we already know that Epstein is the bigger issue, and that's where the network starts and ends. Now, I already do know that
it's bigger than Epstein. It's bigger than Epstein.
Okay, but I think that's what they're kind of distracting us from. They're giving us Diddy, and they're not giving us Epstein, because we still have yet to find out about Epstein. And I already do know, like, Trump was like, that was debunked already. And there is a thread that I'll share with you guys in the comment section of somebody like proving how Trump wasn't a part of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as of right now, I don't believe that he is. But in the future, if it ever came out, even if it's like 50 years from now and I'm an old lady and it came out that Trump was involved, I would be like, everybody, I gotta go on YouTube and talk about something. Trump was a part of it, and I just want to say that he was. Like,
Okay, hold on. You just introduced a new character to the Unrelenting Political Corner.
Yep.
Old age Ruby.
Yes, I'll get the white wig and everything, and I will bring her out. Because if I'm like 70 something and I found out that Trump was a part of it, I would have to come on here and clear it.
Hold on. I'll go one even further. Whenever you have to make an announcement that you're going to change your stance on something, you need to bring in the character Old Age Ruby.
Yep.
So go ahead and look for that wig. Find you a little find you a little old lady dress or something. So that when you change your stance on something, that's what you got to do.
Yes. Granny Ruby. That is it. Yeah.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Okay. All right. Only a couple of more. Top Biden aide admits to Congress she directed the auto pen signatures without knowing who gave final approval. Do you not see anything wrong with that? You had people that were running this country you didn't even know that were running this country.
Yeah.
Joe Biden was not making these decisions at all. At all. It was the people pulling the strings. And there's going to be so much more that comes out about this auto pen stuff. And the signatures, and it wasn't Joe Biden's signature. I saw a thing today where somebody was saying that the B in Biden was the same B that Jill Biden puts when she signs her stuff.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Me and Carissa, we don't have the same letter B when we write our last name.
Right.
But it was the same letter. It was the same exact letter.
Interesting.
Or same way it was written. 128 Democrats join House GOP to block progressive bid to impeach Trump. So we know that after the Iran thing, the very far left wing of the Democratic Party, impeach. Your Bernie Sanders, your AOC, your Nancy Pelosi's, they were ready to impeach. But 128 of their fellow Democrats said, nah, we ain't playing that game.
Yep.
So that's good. Trump Middle East envoy calls leak of intel report treasonous. And there was some funny memes out last week where it said, why would Trump, call the Democrats and give them a heads up on things when we know that they've been leaking stuff this whole time? So there were some funny memes on that. But there's more to come on that issue as well. But that's all I have for the Enoch News Blast this evening. I apologize for the disruption with the rain. Sorry. But hopefully that video filled that time. Hopefully you learned something from the video. And hopefully Enoch will get back to putting up 3 or 4 or 5 posts a week. So thank you very much.
That was great, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Everybody was really interactive with the news tonight. So now we're going to move on into our discussion portion. Don't worry, I'm going to post a link on both of our channels. We're streaming simultaneously from Jimmy's channel and my channel. So please feel free to hop on the stage and get ready to discuss some... I don't think we're going to get offensive tonight, but I mean...
We might.
Maybe not.
I'm going to talk, folks, about the Kalergi plan or whatever. So that might ruffle some feathers.
Okay. I don't know what that is, so I'm interested.
Yeah. So I've seen it. I've seen it before. I never really looked into it. So last night I just took a quick dive into it. So we're just going to look at that this evening. So, but.
All right, everybody. I'm going to play the mid-roll clip and I'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back, everybody. So you let me know, guys. Oh, I put the link in the chat already. So if you want to hit that link, join the stage. We're gonna start getting into our discussion. Go
Do
ahead,
you want
Jimmy.
to remind folks of the guidelines for being on stage?
Oh, yes, please. So, if you guys see the description, you will be able to see the rules and also like our mission statement. And one of those rules is the 3-minute rule, guys. So, if you are new, obviously I will kindly remind you, but if you join the stage, if you want to, you can let us know your political affiliation or where you are in politics and things like that, etc. And if you want to make a comment about one of our subjects, please limit the comment to at least 3 minutes, depending on how many people we have on stage, so that we can just let everybody have a moment to give their comment and maybe a rebuttal if that's the case. But we do want to not get into a debate. So it will be a conversation, not too much of a debate. So I just wanted to give a friendly reminder to everybody in the chat. Hi, Jesse and Gigi. Welcome. I see you guys came in a little later. Who else? Did anybody else come? Well, if you're new here, let me know. Hit the link. I put it in the chat. So, Jimmy, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do your little subject that you brought up? I already forgot what it was. Sorry.
You know what? I think so, because I think it will tie in nicely when we start talking about that dude in New York.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll tie in nicely with the Alligator Alcatraz stuff. What else did we have?
I also included the big beautiful bill that I want to discuss it because there was a vote that passed it
That
today.
could tie in. Yeah, okay. So yeah, let's talk about this because I think it'll tie into everything else. Now, I'm not saying that this is real or fake. I don't know. I have my opinions about it. And when we get to the last part of the segment on this, I will present some things that have happened. And then you can decide for yourself if you've seen that happen, if it ties together. So does it make this right or make it wrong? Okay. So it's called the Kalergi. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Kalergi plan. And I'm going to read for the normies and the folks that trust Wikipedia. I'm going to read straight from Wikipedia what it says about this thing. Now, again, I'll have to say, I don't like Wikipedia. I think they're completely biased. I think they change stuff to fit a narrative, but I'm going to read what they say. And then we're going to watch a 2-minute video about it. And then I'm going to bring up the 11 points of this little plan. Okay. So Wikipedia says, the Kalergi plan, sometimes called the Coudenhove-Kalergi conspiracy. Okay. So right there in the very first sentence, Wikipedia is using the word conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
Is a debunked. Mind you, they're saying it's debunked. It doesn't exist anymore. Right away.
I just looked it up too, and my computer is telling me that it is a debunked far-right anti-Semitic white genocide conspiracy theory. That's a lot in one sentence.
In the first sentence.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So they're not really trying to shape our minds on this, are they? All right. So the theory claims that Austrian-Japanese politician Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi, creator of the Pan-European Union, which later became the European Union as we see it today, concocted a plot to mix and replace white Europeans with other races via immigration. The conspiracy theory is most often associated with European groups and parties, but it has also spread to North American politics. Means promoting the conspiracy theory often incorporate misrepresentations of Kalergi's writings. such as the false claim he stated that Jews shall rule over Europe. Origins. The conspiracy theory stems from a section of Kalergi's 1925 book, Practical Idealism, in which he predicted that a mixed race of the future would arise. The man of the future will be of mixed race. Today's races and classes will gradually disappear owing to the vanishing of space, time, and prejudice. The Eurasian Negroid race of the future, similar in its appearance to the ancient Egyptians, will replace the diversity of peoples with a diversity of individuals. Modern far-right individuals seek to draw relationships between contemporary European policymaking and this quote. Well, they kind of look alike, don't they? Anyway, we'll talk more about that. The conspiracy theory. The independent Italian newspaper L'Inchiesta investigated the conspiracy theory and described it as a hoax, which is comparable to the fabricated anti-Semitic document, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. The Southern Poverty Law Center describes the Kalergi Plan as a distinctly European way of pushing the white genocide conspiracy theory on the continent, with white nationalists quoting Coudenhove-Kalergi's writings out of context in order to assert that the European Union's immigration policies were insidious plots that were hatched decades ago in order to destroy white people. Hope Not Hate, an anti-racism advocacy group, has described it as a racist conspiracy theory which alleges that Coudenhove-Kalergi intended to influence Europe's policies on immigration in order to create a populace devoid of identity, which would then supposedly be ruled by a Jewish elite. That's the theory. That's what Wikipedia says.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think so far?
I mean,
Initial reaction.
I've heard this before, and I've been in the online communities where people actually believe that. And now on the flip side, we've also seen how the media discredits people like that who actually believe in those things, or like this guy is kind of like, I guess, what he's promoting that that's his reasoning, that's the plan that's going to happen. So he's theorizing himself.
So for the viewers, if this is the first time you've heard about the Kalergi Plan, what is your initial reaction to what we just read?
So far, people in the comments are a little confused, like, what is this about? So you've probably never heard this before. And then I think I pulled up one of Thrifty's comments. She said, this sounds like something from the racist South in the 1800s. Yeah, like that's nothing new. Like I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. She said there used to be laws forbidding interracial marriage. Yep. Also reminds her of Hitler racial purity programs.
Okay. All right. So let's cue up the clip that I sent you on Facebook Messenger. Yes. The Kalergi myth or reality. Let's go ahead and play that clip. And then as we're playing it, folks, please share your thoughts on what you think about this so far.
All right.
The Whisper of Shadows, the Kalergi Plan unveiled. David never considered himself a conspiracy theorist. He was a journalist, a seeker of truth, someone who thrived on hard evidence, not whispers in the dark. But Way received an anonymous email titled, "The Kalergi Plan is real." Something inside him told him to dig deeper. At first, it seemed like nonsense, just another internet-fueled theory about secret elites controlling the world. He skimmed through the attached files, old documents, excerpts from Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi's writings, and a series of redacted political memos from the 1950s. It all seemed like a poorly constructed puzzle, missing its most vital pieces. But then he saw it. A classified letter from 1972, marked top secret, referenced something called the integration strategy, a long-term political vision that aimed to reshape Europe's demographic and economic future. The wording was cautious, vague, but between the lines, it spoke of a future where cultural and ethnic identities would no longer define nations, but rather a single, unified society would emerge. David's pulse quickened. Could this be proof? He traced the letter's origins, leading him to an abandoned archive deep within the city's government records building. Late at night, under the dim glow of a flickering light, he found the file. The pages were yellow with age, but the ink remained bold. As he flipped through the documents, he noticed something chilling. Several names had been blacked out, erased, hidden, and then, at the bottom of the last page, a phrase in small print. Scroll for the future of Europe. There must be no return to nationalism. Suddenly, a creak echoed through the archive. David froze. He wasn't alone. A figure stood at the entrance, barely visible in the shadows. A warning? A coincidence? Or had he just seen too much? A cold voice broke the silence. Some truths aren't meant to be uncovered, Mr. Carter. The lights flickered. When they came back on, the figure was gone, but the message was clear. Some secrets were better left buried.
Okay. Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah. Great. And I was looking to see if I had the notes on it. But not George Soros, the other wicked dude, the evil dude, Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab, with the World Economic Forum, was talking about the Great Replacement. And so I was looking for the notes that I had on that because we actually did a roundtable episode about this. And I was looking for the notes. But basically what Klaus Schwab was calling for, with the help of the World Economic Forum, was pretty much the same thing that this dude was talking about. If you want to go that route, if you want to believe that. But this whole integration thing, how they want to flood the Western world with other races, mix them all together, and then you lose your identity as a nation. I mean,
Right.
if you look at pictures coming out of London or look at pictures coming out of New York City right now, do those pictures and images look like the London, England of old? Do they look
No.
like the New York City that we knew in the 80s and 90s?
No, absolutely not.
They do not look. And so Minnesota, Dearborn, Michigan, look at what's happening to these states, these cities in the States. And that's why I do believe that the border was left wide the freak open so that all these folks could pour in, and it would destabilize the nation as a whole, and we would lose our identity. So that goes in. What's everybody's thought about the video so far? Any comments on that yet?
Let's see. Cat B, welcome to the chat. She said, we have had 1 million lost past 2 years, and every second many more come in, mainly from India and China, but more Indians. Jesse says, Memfrica.
Memfrica.
Jane says, New York is a sanctuary city. Thrifty is in the comments talking about some Supreme Court cases that were historic. I think she mentioned this one. Richard and Mildred Loving, the Loving case, a white man and a black woman whose marriage was deemed illegal. I think they made a movie about that. I think I saw that movie. Let's see. Yep. 1967. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so I do know a little bit about all of that, but you see, I don't believe what the media or Wikipedia kind of says about this guy. I mean, they're going to say the same thing about Hitler. And then when I did my research about Hitler and I read Hitler's book that he wrote himself, there was a whole different narrative when I read it myself, a whole different interpretation. So I would have to read this guy's book that it mentioned there from 1925.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is Wikipedia is saying, nah, he didn't say any of this stuff.
Right.
That's what
Or
they're
they took it
saying.
out of context what he was actually trying to say. And it's like, no, let the reader interpret that. So I would
Right.
have to read it for myself to make an opinion about what this man was saying or not saying. Like, let the reader decide that.
Exactly. So this was I pulled this off of a meme this week. So I do not know who wrote the meme. I can't verify the quote. I don't know if this guy has said this or not. It does say it's taken from his book, Practical Idealism from 1925. So let's just read what the alleged quote is.
Okay.
We intend to turn Europe and North America into a mixed mongrel race of Asians and Negroes ruled over by Jews. Okay. That's the quote that's been said, or allegedly said. Now, at the bottom of that quote, it has the 11-point plan to subvert Western civilization. Now, if this is all true, kind of compare it to what you're seeing happening today. Is what's on this list happening today, and do we see it? Right? So the first is the creation of racism offenses. Make everything about race. Do we see that or do we not?
I
Number
see
two.
it.
Yeah. Number two, continual change to create confusion. Do we see that or do we not?
Mm-hmm.
This is a good one. The teaching of sex and homosexuality to children.
Yes.
If you say, no, you don't see this, you're under a rock.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The undermining of schools and teachers' authority. How many times have we seen videos where kids are basically slapping teachers, getting away with whatever they want to get away with?
Yeah.
And the school can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So far, I think we're 4 for 4, right? We see
Yes.
all that. All right, we got 7 more to go. Huge immigration to destroy identity.
Yes.
Number 6, the promotion of excessive drinking. Now,
I don't think so. But that does go along with American culture. I mean, that's just
I don't
America.
really. I mean, I can see where the author of this was coming from, but for someone like me, I don't drink, so because I don't put myself in that environment, I'm not exposed to it all the time.
Okay,
But
so how about like promotion of debauchery or degeneracy? Like the culture is going down the drain. Because I would say yes to that, but I don't think
that's coming up. That's coming up.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we'll give that one half a point.
Yeah.
Maybe a quarter. Let's give it a quarter of a point, in my opinion, because we're going to come up with a score here.
Okay.
Number 7, emptying of churches.
Not directly. I don't think so.
What's that?
I don't think it's directly, promoted the emptying of churches, but on the flip side, Satanism is on the rise. Like as in music videos, they're promoting the hypersexualized music and music videos that would take people away from a traditional religious background. So that might be a cause.
I see this as a percentage case because, like in my case, and a lot of XJWs, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but we left religion because we're sick of it. We see the scam. We see that it's created to divide and control the people. Okay.
Or right, like non-belief. Yeah. I just don't believe it anymore, so I left. Yeah.
Yeah, so I left. So there's a percentage of the population that is in that camp. But then you have a percentage of the population that have been sucked in to the symbolism and ideology that you mentioned a second ago, and they're just not going to church anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Because of that stuff, because they just want to party and don't want to be held responsible or whatever, accountable for it, so to speak. So
and that percentage is low within itself, because I did see like somebody did like a poll or like a study on it on X, and they did share it. So that is a small percentage of why people leave, because the majority of it is non-belief, is atheism. They just don't believe in anything.
Yeah. So let's give that one 1/4 of a point too.
Yeah.
All right. Number 8, an unreliable legal system with bias against the victims.
Yes.
Yes, we see that.
Whole point. Yes.
Number 9, dependency on the state or state benefits.
Yes.
Yes.
Since 1964 to be exact.
We see that.
Yeah.
Number 10, control and dumbing down of the media.
Yes.
100% see that.
Mhm.
And the last one, encouraging the breakdown of the family. And yes.
And
we
that's
see-
feminism. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a couple of things. We're not going to go into all of them, because then that might start a whole rabbit,
Yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
other tangent. But yes, do we see encouraging the breakdown of the family? Yes, we've seen it for
Yeah.
a long time now. So out of the 11, we have 9 that were spot on, and we have 2 where it has 1/4 of a point. So we get 9.5 out of 11. So that's what I've come up with. 9.5 out of 11. What have you come up with in the comments? What do you think? Are we seeing most of these things today? And if we are seeing these things and it's attributed to the Kalergi plan, would it make the Kalergi plan a conspiracy, or were we being told the plan ahead of time? What's your
Good
thoughts?
point.
What's your opinions?
Welcome to the stage, Han Mang's dad. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy, I'll go to number 7. Great points. And let me just throw something at you. I don't think I've seen it anywhere. It's just something that me and Gilbert have been mulling over on number 7, touches with your conspiracy. I like it. The emptying of churches. Was I correct? Emptying of churches?
Yeah, that's number 7.
Okay. If you go to jw.org right now, today, you will see their interpretation of Daniel chapter 2, the giant, with the different metals, the prophecy of Daniel chapter 2.
Right.
And in there, they interpret the feet, the clay and the iron, to be the United States and Great Britain. And if you had a house and an apartment, and you knew that somebody was going to take it over, it was going to steal it or demolish it, would you go remodel it, the kitchen?
No.
Would you spend 1 penny in painting or fixing it up? No.
No.
The Jehovah's Witnesses destroy nationality. They destroy the country. Now, a lot of religion, a lot of theologists, a lot of seminarians, they believe that Daniel chapter 2 has nothing to do with Great Britain, nothing to do with the United States. Maybe it was Rome, maybe it was Greece, maybe it was an ancient power closer to the 1st century BC, closer to the time of Daniel. But for some reason, the Jehovah's Witnesses today are preaching to the Jehovah's Witnesses right now at jw.org, so all of them could see it, a hate and a contempt for America. Why would they be interested in civics? Why would they be interested in loving the neighbor, loving your country, if you know that there was going to be a rock that was going to destroy it, like Daniel chapter 2? And so I think that's what's hurting the churches, and it feeds to your conspiracy. I think the Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't get this from the Catholic Church or the Baptist or a lot of traditional Orthodox churches, that the United States and Great Britain are the feet of Daniel chapter 2. They get it from like the Seventh-day Adventists and some of the 18th century cults, 19th century cults. And it's closer in line with the conspiracy that you're bringing up in the 19th century. And in it, you get a lot of hate for the nation state. And we're seeing it in 1 through 11 that you stated. And that was my 10 cents that I wanted to throw at.
Thank you for sharing that. And that just reminded me of what the lady said in the video earlier, that Trump he wants a united front of sovereign nations. Mm-hmm. You know, like she gave the example of, hey, Russia's got this, we could benefit from that. China's got this, we could benefit from that. He wanted to build partnerships with sovereign republics, sovereign nations, not be part of a empire, so to speak, that promotes endless wars.
Exactly.
Awesome. So we have two new people on the stage. Sherry D, welcome, and Gail, welcome. So I'm gonna let Sherry D go first. You have 3 minutes to make your comment. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know that you guys are not going to like what I have to say, but all of this is biblical prophecy. It was all foretold. I've been going back and forth with the JW for days, and they just don't get it. But the fact of the matter is that we are God's chosen people, and that this anti-Semitism and all that is biblical prophecy and that kind of thing. And I'm trying to think what else. I mean, you can hit me with questions, but, you know, I do believe that the Word of God is the truth, and that no religion can, you know, claim that they are the only people in the world who know the Bible. And stuff like that. So, what else?
Thank you for your comment, Sherry. I'm gonna give Gail just a moment to give her comment, and then maybe we can have a response. Go ahead, Gail.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk about the family because that's very important to me. And I feel that the breakdown in families are a breakdown society, and that's a historical fact. It happened in Rome when the family starts breaking down, and then society breaks down because the family is the strongest unit there is. And I just want to say what I'm doing on my part. There's nothing I can do about world events and on the political field, but I can do something in my life. I love my children. I tell them I love them all the time. They tell me they love me. I try to stay as close with them as I possibly can. I'm their last living grandparent out of, my mother was one of 11. My dad was one of 5. They're all passed away. So I want to be loving towards my family, and I want to stay close with them and do the best as we can as a family, because we're living in some wicked, tumultuous times, and I'm all for the family. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Gail. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Before we do a response to those two comments, for the viewers, here's a question. How would you rate the closeness of your family? And I'm talking aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, everybody's. How would you rate the closeness of your family now compared to like in the 70s and 80s? 10 being very close, 1 being not close at all. How would you feel about that from your viewpoint, what you see in your family?
Can I speak?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the JWs robbed me of my family because of no holidays. I'm closer now to my family because I do celebrate birthdays and holidays. They're having a big 75th birthday party for me because I'm born on the 4th of July. And I hate and have regrets that I lost all that time with my family, but I'm getting it back, and I really have regrets about that.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear it. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted with the chat. Jesse said 0. Dehydrated Nurse said 2. Chad says, what family?
Dean says 0 on both counts.
Oh, gosh.
So I guess the question we need to ask ourselves, if the majority of us are feeling like our families are not as close now as we were before, the next question is, why is that the case?
Mm-hmm.
And who benefits from a structure like that?
Exactly.
Satan benefits from everything that's going on.
Does. Right on.
I'm sorry, that's a misconception. Satan doesn't benefit from anything.
He runs the world.
Not necessarily true.
Well,
I want to welcome Slavika to the stage. Slavika, go ahead. You have 3 minutes to give a comment. Go ahead, Slavika.
Hello, Ruby, my beautiful girl.
Hi.
The only reason I follow politics and politicians is to hear about governments of the world turning on false religion and bringing Babylon the Great down. And I believe that the governments of the world will then be next. And this week we had Sam Carling, an MP who spoke to the UK Parliament about Jehovah's Witnesses. And this is the religious group that he grew up in. And he talked about their terrible policies and how child sexual abuse is perpetuated with their two-witness rule. And it was even said that they are a cult. This is what I've been waiting for, okay? So although I am completely in agreement that the JWs are a cult and leaving them is the right thing to do, I have always believed in God and his son, Jesus, and God's word, the Bible. So we know that the JWs changed the meaning of many scriptures.
Yes.
But the majority of the scriptures I still believe and always will. And so, for example, the prayer that Jesus taught about our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, meaning greatly revered and honored. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In order for God's will to take place on earth, he will have to get rid of all those who oppose his authority. And the time will come when he will bring an end to all this evil and this nonsense. And the bottom line will be, live by my laws or die by them. No more Satan and his influence or freedom to do evil or harm. It is going to be God's way or no way. And all, we will have is a choice, either his way or no way. I, for one, am all for a world.
Thank you. The 3 minutes is up.
All his way.
Thank you, Slavika. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I appreciate everybody chiming in, and I respect all your comments and opinions. Let's keep this on the political topics. Let's not dive too far off onto the religious side of things, because that's going to lead the stream into a whole nother direction that we don't go into, because we don't want to be arguing.
I can leave, Jimmy. I can leave right now if this is how you feel. Okay.
You can stay in your. I'm just saying. This is I'm just saying. Let's just remember. Like I said, I appreciate your comments, but let's not get into a spiritual religious battle.
Are you going to do this the way that you want, or are you going to give people the freedom to share their thoughts and feelings about?
As long as it's political. So
as long as it stays on topic.
Yes, because this is a political show, so we don't want to get too debatable or too religious.
A politician. I talked about a politician.
You did.
What he said in Parliament.
I actually have the clip, Slavika. So this is the clip right here that she mentioned, and I can play it. It's only a minute, and I will include this in the description just in case if anybody else is interested in this. But this is what happened in the UK, so I'm going to play it.
Okay.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. He's making very important points about, particularly about the Jehovah's Witness cult. And one of the methods that they use to ensure that issues like this don't escape from the organisation itself is the act of disfellowship, where an individual is threatened by being disfellowshipped all communication with their own family. And I wonder if he'll go a little further into recognising that too. Thank you.
Sam Carling. I absolutely will, and I very much thank the Honourable Member for that intervention. I'm very pleased that other Honourable Members in the House are aware of that issue. It's something I am trying to do some work on separately. I think it is certainly relevant to what I'm discussing here. Just to give the House a little more context on that, what that essentially means is if that organisation decides that someone has committed a serious sin, it can essentially tell all of their family and friends to cut them off permanently. The same applies if they just choose to leave the religion. But very rarely is that applied to perpetrators of crimes, and more often to victims that report them. And it is an enormous problem that has to be dealt with, and I look forward to engaging with the Honourable Member further on that.
Okay, so that was the clip. That was a really good one. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Let me say something. In response to what I just said a second ago, there are viewers that do watch this show for political content. I don't have a problem with you making a comment like you guys did. I don't have a problem with that at all. I'm just saying let's stay on track, because more people tune into this for the political stuff, the conspiracy stuff, and they don't want to talk about religion. Y'all can say that in the comments. So,
Jimmy, this is what I said to you. Because of my beliefs, I'm not interested in your show and this show. Okay, so I can leave and never come back, and I'm happy with that.
That's your choice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to you, Slavika, but we are going to move on to another
Yeah.
subject because I do have a lot of clips that I want to play tonight.
Yeah. And
So
and so
thank you for
please,
joining, though. We appreciate
Yes,
you.
thank you. Appreciate it.
okay. So have a great evening. I'm
You
gone.
too.
too.
All
Have a
right,
good
let's
night.
go.
Good night.
So I do want to talk about Mamdani. So if anybody doesn't know already about this guy, he is running. Well, he already won the nomination for the Democratic Party, which is crazy. But this is the same guy that I showed you guys a clip of. Was it last Tuesday where I said, Jimmy, do you know that this guy is running for mayor?
Hey, that was last Tuesday.
Yeah, okay. So he was running, and the very question that they were pressing this guy on was, what's the first foreign country you would visit if you
Right.
became mayor? And I was like, what kind of a question is that? You're going to be
Yeah.
a mayor. Why would you even leave the country? Honestly, if you're a mayor, I don't think you should be going anywhere except the city or place where you're a mayor. You should be focused on where you work. Honestly. So anyways, I brought it up in that context. I didn't know his politics. I thought he was a regular Democrat. I did not know that he is a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. And that term is pretty new for me. So I had to go down the rabbit hole of what that even is. And then that got me and Tony talking because she lives in New York City. And I was like, bro, do you plan on voting? Because this guy is insane. And she was kind of excited for Mamdani with the things he was saying. And I don't blame her. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is saying everything that we want to hear because we're so beat down as Americans, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody says free healthcare or free MTA, free transportation, community housing, it sounds beautiful. I will be the first to admit that utopia sounds amazing. Any thoughts before I share the clip? Go ahead, Jimmy.
What part of government ran grocery store sounds amazing? He's actually said that.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, when I heard his stance on things, yeah, everything you just said, yes, he has said those things. You know, he's a politician. He's got to win the, free this, free that, blah, 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 blah. But he mentioned a government-run grocery stores.
Oh, hell no. That'd be
hell
horrible.
no. Yeah.
So when I heard that, I was like, okay, I mean, I knew I didn't like the guy anyway, politically speaking. But after I heard that, I was like, oh my God, I hope people pick up on that.
This
Right.
is what was.
Sorry, Sherry. Before we move on, I do want to
throw that in real quick.
welcome.
I'm sorry, Ruby. It was pointed out the other day. The
Sorry.
Constitution.
Mhm.
It's okay.
Hello.
Yes, I just want to
Janice,
welcome the two people on the stage before I show the clip or we move on to a different subject. So just in case, Aposta Babe, Linda James, please unmute yourself and give a comment. Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say hi, and I was moving around the kitchen when I believe Sherry joined us. She was talking about being the chosen people and stuff. So now I'm asking a question. Is she the one you were talking to? Whoever was talking to her, letting her know that we don't do anything. We're not going to talk spiritual, but more political? Or was that to somebody else?
No, that was somebody else.
My response
Jimmy.
was to Slovakia, but it did include, anybody that wants to go that route. We don't go that route. I'm sorry.
And
Yes,
may
Slavika.
I just push back just a little? I've had a few phone calls with Sherry. She's a neat gal. And even though my belief system is different than hers, my challenge is if you're going to bring up Judaism or any talk of Jewishness, why would we not be able to talk about it?
Okay. In all fairness,
maybe we can make a differentiation. Zionism is the political portion of Judaism or something like that.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. Hold on. Let me just explain.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherry. Go ahead.
I think that you have Zionism and Judaism all screwed. The Messiah is a Jew. Yeshua was born in Israel to be the Messiah for the Jews. So, I mean, you can't say that, we're not chosen. But and as far as what do you call it, government-run grocery store, John Stossel had just done a video about how the Constitution was written to limit government power. We have rights under the Constitution, and that is to limit government power, not to run our lives. But anyway,
Exactly.
if you would like,
thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Ruby. But yeah, if you would like to know about the biblical facts about that we are the chosen people of Yahweh or Hashem, then I can certainly link you up with numerous ministries that practice exactly what the biblical Messiah practiced. He didn't practice mainstream Sunday church Christianity. He was a Torah-observant Jewish rabbi who kept the Sabbath and all of the laws.
Yeah, and in response to Linda on why wouldn't we talk about this stuff, okay, so let's take an example from another famous person in the XJW world that does a show, Rick Farron. Yes. When he's talking about JW World News and somebody starts to come on there and start talking religious, biblical stuff, what does he say? Hey, we have a show on Sunday at 11 o'clock that you can tune in and express your opinion there. So all I'm saying, the title of the show is the Unrelenting Political Corner. So we want to keep it as on track as possible and not go down the religious stuff and spiritual stuff to that extent, because it will throw the show off.
And I agree with you. I'm saying that I am backing you up. I'm in agreement with you. What I'm also suggesting is if you bring up anything Jewish, expect somebody to speak Jewish or speak on that subject. I'm suggesting a bit of a differentiation. If
I understand,
you're talking only politics within the Jewish realm or spiritual, like what she wants to share. And
and that's fine. I mean, if somebody wants to come. So I apologize.
The boundary that you're sharing. I'm just trying to do a diffdifferentiation and be like, look, if you're going to bring up the subject, why would you expect nobody to talk about it?
I see what you're saying, and that's why we give folks, at least 3 minutes to make a comment or something. But we want to make sure that's fine. But let's not start debates and arguments about it.
Yeah, because if you do want to make a comment in that perspective, then join the chat. But if you're going to join the stage, we want to keep it political and we want to move on. So I'm going to move on to Janice. Yeah,
that's
so thank
exactly
you.
The
thank
point
you,
I'm trying to make. I don't think y'all are understanding me, but maybe you'll catch on another time.
No. Thank you for joining, and thank you for saying that so other people can hear it from another mouth. Thank you, Linda. I'm going to move on to Janice. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes to make a comment, and then I'm going to move on to a clip from Mamdani. Go ahead.
Are we doing so it's political stuff over here?
Yes, it's very political.
What's the consensus? What are we doing?
So
right now sorry.
Yeah, we're going to jump right into Zohran Mamdani. If you don't know, he's running for a mayor, and he is a Democrat socialist. So I'm going to play a clip of him, and then everybody in the comments and on stage can give, an opinion, whatever the case may be. Just keep your comments under 3 minutes, because I have a couple of clips that I want to show to give a picture of who this guy is and how he even won the nomination. This is crazy in my opinion, but let's watch it.
New York Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Every politician says New York is the greatest city on the globe. Well, what good is that if no one can afford to live here? City Hall is engulfed in corruption. Unscientific. The cost of living is the real crisis. New Yorkers are being crushed by rent and childcare. The slowest buses in the nation are robbing us of our time and our sanity. Working people are being pushed out of the city they built. A mayor could change this, and that's why I'm running. I'll make buses fast and free,
so I can just get where I'm going.
I'll make childcare available to all New Yorkers at no cost.
I want to raise my kid in New York.
And I'll freeze the rent for every single rent-stabilized tenant.
These Eric Adams rent hikes are killing us.
Life in this city doesn't need to be this hard, but politicians like Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo want it to be this way. They care about their donors. They care about themselves. They don't care about you, the working class who keep this city running. This campaign is for every New Yorker who believes in the dignity of their neighbors. And the government's job is to actually make our lives better. We can afford to bring down the rent, have world-class public transit, and make it easier to raise a family. We can do all of that and so much more because this is New York. We can afford to dream.
Did he say that it's the government's job to make us happy or something? What he said? I'm gonna have to rewind that.
You're going to have to go back and you're going to get back and see if that's what he said.
Yeah, he said something about that. It's the government's job to do something.
No, it's the government's job to protect us from like foreign and domestic invaders and all that kind of stuff, and to protect our rights under the Constitution. I mean, that doesn't necessarily make you happy, does it?
That is correct.
That makes me want to sell all my properties and not have any tenants. I'm scared.
Are you in New York?
Yeah.
No, but it's just a mindset thing.
I did hear today on the Wright Report that there is a guy that owns a chain of grocery stores in New York. And if somebody's familiar with that chain, if you say the name, I'll remember what he said on the Wright Report this morning. But some popular grocery store chain up in New York, he said that if this guy gets elected, he is going to sell all his grocery stores and retire and move to Florida.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds all great and fine. And people will say, well, fine, just sell your grocery stores and move to Florida. But what they're not thinking about is how many people does he employ at these grocery stores that are not going to be able to move out of New York?
Exactly.
How many people rely on his business for them to be able to make a living?
Right. Just a quick question for Janice, if you don't mind telling us, like, where are you from, or if you have a affiliation to a party already, like, where do you lean on the political spectrum, just so that we can get an idea, because you are a new person on the stage, and I will ask the same thing for Sherry. But go ahead, Janice or Janice.
Yeah. Well, I voted for Donald Trump. I'm just a simple guy, you know.
Okay, that's a great answer. Thank you. Sherry, if you don't mind me asking the same question, where do you lean on the political spectrum?
Oh, I've been kind of like politics, schmalitics, but there's just so much going on right now that you can't just ignore it. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat or whatever the freak it may be. I just, I listen to these politicians. I know they're greedy, they're corrupt. Yeah, I vote for the same person every year, right? Nobody. I think there's a lot of stuff going on that is just, well, it's a fulfillment of prophecy again. But no, I don't put my trust in any particular politician or anything like that. And I like to learn about law and the Constitution and that kind of thing. That's why I'm trying to sue the people who had me unlawfully evicted and threw everything I had in the trash, because that's what the law is for. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's a good answer, Sherry. Thank you for sharing. Jimmy, did you want to make a comment?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I paused it to where he said that government is actually to make our lives better. That's what he said.
Oh my God. Right there should be a red flag, everybody.
There was multiple red flags in this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the one that bothered me the most, that government is actually supposed to make our lives better. Like, what? Where did you learn that?
Wow. What other clips do you have on him? I think we need to do a deep dive on this dude.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to look into... Okay, here goes another clip of him just speaking with this chick. What's her name? I forgot. Whatever. Let's just watch it.
You're running on issues that are very relevant to people in New York City: the cost of housing, free busing. some have projected, that this is the type of platform that would work in other parts of the country. I mean, you're a proud democratic socialist. Do you think that is a platform that would work for other candidates running in other parts of the country?
Absolutely. I think ultimately this is a campaign about inequality. And you don't have to live in the most expensive city in the country to have experienced that inequality, because it's a national issue. And what Americans coast to coast are looking for are people who will fight for them, not just believe in the things that resonate with their lives, but actually fight and deliver on those very things. And part of how we got to this point was through the endorsements of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders, who've been leading this fight against oligarchy across the country. And I think that in focusing on working people and their struggles, we also return back to what makes so many of us proud to be Democrats in the first place.
You were running on issues.
Okay, any comments on that before I find the next clip?
I think y'all ought to find, there's this guy named Cash Jordan who makes a lot of videos about New York. It is a complete ruin. And isn't it just funny how the babbling botch tower is also located in New York, and all the stuff happening like in the central boroughs of New York is eventually going to find its way to the rest of the state, right? So that's why I like that. His name is Cash Jordan. He's on YouTube.
Cash Jordan. Is that with a C or a K?
A C.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that. The only thing that I think about when I see this dude, Ruby, is remember, what was it, 10, 12 years ago, that an individual that has the same stance as this guy became mayor of London.
Oh.
And how has London turned out?
Ah, interesting.
Do you want, if you want New York City to look like London does today, then by all means, this is your guy.
Ah, okay. Did you see? Okay, let's play one more. Oh, okay, hold on. Because did you know that he used to be a rapper of some sort?
Yes.
Okay, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, let me see how many minutes. I think this is. If I'll play it if it's short.
I wonder if he did a duet. I wonder if he ever did a duet with Zelensky.
Your word, right? What is it? I don't know what that is. Okay, let's see if this is one of his rap songs. I don't know if this is it.
Nah, no, cause I'm living my G. Kitty, my G. Run this whole city like a Ramiyate. Stay setting people up, I'm seeing the shawty. If you see me in the streets, don't be asking Guane.
Oh my God!
Yup, here it is.
It's Zelensky 2.0. Wow. Wow.
Okay, so we'll watch it in mute because I know for sure I'm gonna have to like trim this out for the music purposes. But wow, this is the guy, guys, who's running for mayor now, right? Like, what?
Have you guys seen Roseanne Barr's? Have you guys seen Roseanne Barr's video that she made where she's all braided up with this other artist? I don't remember his name.
Yes.
Daddy's back or Daddy's home.
Yes, I think so. I do remember seeing that. That was a couple months ago. Yeah, that was a couple months ago. Wow, I had a comment, but it just slipped my mind. Oh my God, about this dude. Oh
yeah, I think it's cringy. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Central casting.
Yes. Oh, and first of all, when I looked him up, he wasn't even born here. He was born in Uganda, and he was raised in South Africa, and then they immigrated to America. And now he's running for mayor. What the heck?
He's only been in the country 7 years, from what I understand. And he was in the country when he got here. And then within 2 years, he was protesting about tearing down statues in, I guess it was New York City. I could be wrong on that, but wherever he was at, he was protesting to take down American statues, and had only been in the nation for 2 years. Now, imagine we get on a plane, we go to China, we become citizens of China, and within 2 years, we want to start taking things down in China that they've had there for years.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it's not fair. It's all about what's fair. It's not fair.
Well,
Yeah.
James Spitfire just said his parents are very wealthy. So yeah, it's all about the money, darling.
Yeah, that too. I think his mom was a Bollywood actress and a Hollywood producer.
Yes, and she produced a Disney movie for him too. So he's an actor as well. He's an actor, he's a rapper, and now he's running for mayor. I mean, it's the same playbook. And that's what I was trying to tell my cousin too. I was like, it doesn't matter if he's Muslim or not. It's the characteristics that I'm seeing the pattern. That is it's no good.
Can you explain when you say that's the same playbook? Can you describe that playbook that you're talking about?
Well, yeah, like we just said. I mean, he tried being a rapper. He tried being an actor. It's like when all else fails, the rejects go run for politics, and they are the perfect puppets.
I mean, is there
for
another
whoever puts money.
politician that? I mean, if it's the same playbook, I'm asking what other politicians use that same playbook.
If we want to go current event, was that Lisa asking or Linda asking the question?
Yes, Linda.
Yeah, me, Linda.
Okay. So if we want to go current events and pick one person out that fits the same exact description, like I said, Zelensky in Ukraine.
Okay.
Right, exactly. That would be the modern day example.
Go look to back that up, Ruby. Go to.
I know he was an actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to just for the audience sake.
I thought she might know somebody in America that when you talk same playbook, I just thought
that there'd be more.
To understand who does that as well here in the U.S.
Well, for example, didn't the former governor used to be an actor as well, Hollywood?
Yeah, well, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, you had Reagan. They were former actors.
And a former president who also used to be an actor, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, that's the same playbook. That's why I don't care if he's white or not or not. It's the same characteristics. I wouldn't trust that either. Like how you go from Hollywood actor to a politician now. It's almost like a gig because they're actors. This is what they know how to do. They know how to speak. They're good speakers.
Are you implying that they wouldn't be authentic or well, to be honest, we both know politics. Whether it's the left or the right, it's all corrupt when they get to that point. But I'm just trying to get to the basis of what I'm hearing from you is like that would be a reason for them not to run for politics. And I'm trying to grasp what that reason would be. That's what I'm saying.
I think just speculating here. I'm thinking money, money and influence. Let's say you wanted to push an agenda. And you remember too, Trump was on The Apprentice. Trump's been in movies.
Exactly.
So
I was thinking that as well.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Did what, Janice?
I would.
No, I was thinking about the Trump thing. Yeah, he was on The Apprentice. He was sort of an actor per se.
Yeah. And so I think it has to do with money and influence, and depending on what agenda you're trying to push on the people, you got to have somebody as a spokesperson. Let's hire this former actor, actress, whichever. Let's use them. This is why I've said in the past that I believe we're watching a movie. And every time I say that, I know people look at me like I might be crazy, but then I just listen to what Trump has said many times about central casting. And
but to be fair, I don't think Trump is actor to president because he's more of a businessman, not really an actor. I'm talking about people who are actually actors and they moved on from that to run for a political office. That's what I distrust.
Yeah, you had the other dude that was on SNL for all those years. Oh God, what was his name? He was up in Minnesota.
I know who you're talking about. Curly hair.
Yeah. Somebody help me in the comments.
John Belushi?
No.
Nothing in the comments yet, but I have no clue.
Oh God, I see his beady little face. Oh God, well, Al Franken.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to
Al
look him up.
Franken. He was on SNL. Then of course you had a former wrestler, Jesse Ventura. So, and we know all that wrestling stuff is scripted. So
Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, one last piece of information that I wanted to share was this. I think this is hilarious. Rapper 50 Cent offers to pay Zohran $258,000 to quote get lost. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I don't think this guy is stopping. I think he might win, honestly. And that's another
That's
I won't.
scary.
Yeah, I was gonna say fear, but I don't want to use that word. But it is
Right.
concerning
There you go.
that yeah, it's very concerning that this guy would run and possibly win. And did you also hear that they actually want to use the act of I forgot the specific name, but it was 1954, something about communism, that they want to use it to like deport him or to get him off
Yes, I heard
the
about that on the Right Report today or yesterday.
Yes. So what do you know anything about that?
I'll have to go back and listen and report back later. But I
Okay.
heard that, and there is a law on the books where this dude actually fits that description
He does.
and would allow his deportation.
Exactly.
The only other thing I'll say about this, okay, since we're talking about awakening and being shown stuff, and so if he is from Central Casting, is he being put in this position to show how absurd his ideology is to wake people up in New York? Is that a possibility?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't think so. I think people actually believe in this and they actually want it to come into fruition. Like they want this in real life. And he's the guy who's saying all the right things and they're going to vote for him based on emotion. I think people are still asleep when it comes to that.
I guess the only thing that drives me crazy about that is how many politicians in the New York mayor's race before him ran on that same platform. And
I don't know any.
And the situation, no, you've had socialists, they say the same thing. Oh, free, better jobs, better health care, blah, blah, blah. They promise all these things.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's what he's promoting.
Yeah, but I thought that was just democratic, like just the left. I didn't think that was democratic socialism. Like now you're going far left, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. Not in real politics, not in real life.
Well, I guess if we went on, current player, you got your AOC and your Ilhan Omar and the squad. I guess that's what they call them. They are far left. They're all far left. Oh,
what's that one lady?
What's that?
What's that one lady? There's a lady in Congress that she's not even from this country and she doesn't even support the United States. She'd rather.
That's Omar. Yeah, that's
Ilhan Omar.
Yes. Yeah. Get rid of her.
That's another one who we always said how the heck did she even get into office? I don't understand that. And that would be common sense to me. It's you have to be born in the United States, just like the president. So if the president has those same regulations, why doesn't Congress? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Did you see where we're going to go on a little bit of a sidetrack, but AOC, where the news came out the last couple of days to prove that she's not from just a girl in the Bronx?
But somebody put a picture of the yearbook saying hey, you were in my yearbook in some high school in the suburbs. You're not even from the Bronx.
Yeah. And her family, very wealthy, but to play the act and the part, she had to put out the story that she was just a college bartender, or a girl who went to college and was a bartender. No, this woman lived a very nice life when she was younger.
Yeah, but
same thing with this dude.
Yeah, but even from day one when she was running, and I was living in the Bronx, where we come from there, we found out that she was handpicked from some app or something for something else, and that they thought her look or whatever would really go well with politics. So it's they handpicked her from something that she probably didn't even think of, and they changed her life forever. So now she's just playing this part.
And now she's worth millions of dollars on a congressman's salary. How did she get those millions of dollars?
Exactly.
I'm laughing at Thrifty Treasure, Tiger King, tried to run.
What'd she say?
Yeah, Tiger King tried to run for president from prison. That was hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
and I
remember. That
remember
was
that
funny.
time period. That was amazing. Just really quickly, I want to welcome Dallas to the stage. Welcome, Dallas.
Hey, Dallas.
Hey,
Hi,
Dallas.
hi, y'all.
Hi,
Dallas.
gal.
I just have something to share. I won't take too much y'all's time. That I think I agree that Omar, she's a big traitor.
Yeah, that's a good phrase, traitor.
Yeah,
Well, thank
absolutely.
you, Dallas. That was that was nice. Thank you for
And
that.
and about that New York City, I never wanted to live there,
Mm-mm.
and also especially because of that witch tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way up in the boonies, but yeah, it's like I was thinking, it's such a disaster right now that, yeah, you just have to realize that whatever's going on in the big city is going to infiltrate the rest of the state. And that's going to include the what you call it?
Yeah.
that
No,
The
yeah.
witch tower.
Yeah, thank you, Dallas. I'm so happy you are able to join us now and be a part of the show. But really
Right.
quickly, so this is what I told my cousin because she lives in New York, and I have a lot of people that live in New York, and I don't even think they vote. They're not politically awake or
Right.
anything like they don't really care about these things. But that's how these things happen is when not enough people care about politics, and some guy like this is charming or well liked, and he says all the right things, and it butters you up the right way, and you think it's gonna happen when in reality I don't think so. Like that would never happen. And if it did, it would be worse for New York City than it is right now. So I don't think it's moving in the right direction. So I would one point that I would give to if anybody is from New York or a voter from New York, please look at other parties. It doesn't have to be Republican. It can be third party. Please do research on other parties and vote for the person who you think would make your city, your community better. And if it is Mamdani, then it is what it is. But I would recommend that please do your research for the sake of New York City.
Right.
Any final thoughts before we move on? Because I do want to play some clips about the recent whatchamacallit, Supreme Court ruling that was in the news.
Okay.
I have something that I just wanted to bring up when Jimmy was talking about teaching homosexuality in school.
Oh.
I don't think homosexuality is taught, but if it's taught that people that are homosexual exist, I think that's fine. But the thought of teaching homosexuality, that's implying that the children are being groomed.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring that up.
I agree.
Yes, go ahead, Jimmy.
There
Go
was
ahead.
there was just a Supreme Court ruling last week. This ties into that.
Exactly. I'm about to bring it up.
Okay, I'll get you. You want to go ahead and play it? Let
Yes,
everybody
I
else hear it,
do.
and then I'll make a comment about it.
Yes. So this was the clip that I wanted to show in relation to the Supreme Court. So the caption says, the Supreme Court just ruled the parents are allowed to opt their children out of being indoctrinated with LGBTQ propaganda. Huge win for America. So I'm going to play the clip. And then I also have another clip, but we'll see with this one first.
Religious liberty and whether parents should be informed and be able to opt their children out from reading books in the classroom that go against their faith. Shannon Bream is at the Supreme Court. We were watching for this one. What's the verdict?
We were, Dana. So this brought together a coalition of parents of different religious faiths and backgrounds who said there used to be a rule in this particular school district that would let them know when there were books that dealt with issues that may be in conflict with their religious faith. Well, so many parents were opting out that the school board and the school district quit doing it. Well, 6-3 today in a decision by Justice Alito, they said these parents have been earned at least a preliminary injunction. So while this case plays out, they said the board has to notify them about a book that's in question or anything similar so that their kids can be excused if it's in conflict with their faith. He says, as we've explained, without that, parents are left this choice, either risk their child's exposure to burdensome instruction or pay substantial sums for alternative educational services. Because at one point, Justice Jackson during the arguments had said, why don't they just go to a different school? Why don't you put them in private school or homeschool them? Justice Alito and others saying that's not practical for a lot of people. The dissent by Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justices Kagan and Jackson, says today's ruling threatens the essence of public education. She says it's not about bringing kids together to learn about a particular faith, but a range of concepts and views that reflect our entire society. Exposure to new ideas has always been a vital part of that project until now. The dissenters didn't think that the parents should get the opt-out. Justice Alito and the majority say they should.
All right, Shannon, thank you so much. We also just got this from President Trump on the first case.
Okay, go ahead, Jimmy.
So I guess respectfully, in my rebuttal back to Linda, let me make sure I got this correct, what you said, Linda, that this stuff is not being taught in school. Is that what you were implying? I'm asking respectfully.
What I'm saying is I don't believe that the behavior, like I don't think you can teach somebody how to be a homosexual. That would be grooming. But if you have books that let children know that they exist, is different. And that's what I'm see. Do you see the difference of what I'm saying?
I see your stance on that, but I would have to disagree only because of if there wasn't such a huge concern, then there would be parents out there that would be like, yeah, this is great for our kids. But you have so many
parents that have that opinion, but I also respect what I just heard. That
yeah,
those
and so
faith, they don't want their kids to be a part of that. I'm in total agreement.
okay, and then you had the justices, the three dissenting voices, say no, the parents shouldn't have that right.
Well, it's the parents' responsibility what religion we raise our kids in.
I think.
So I agree with what
I think the point that I'm trying to make, just on what I said about the justices, is it's not their responsibility to decide whether a parent can opt out or not, or that they should stay in it. That's them exerting their control over their ideology. So they didn't like that. Parents can now have a choice. And if it wasn't such an issue for so many people, this would have never reached the Supreme Court, in my opinion.
Okay, I hear what you're. Okay, I was not hearing it that way. So now that we have the 10 Commandments in classrooms and Bibles and stuff, could that, on the other hand, could that be pushing Christianity on children?
It could be. Me personally, I don't agree with any of that. School is school. Teach people about reading, writing, math, real history, life lessons. That's what school should be.
Yeah, but there is a difference because it reached the Supreme Court, which is alarming in itself. Whereas the 10 Commandment thing is like a state's issue. So if that state voted for that, then I am for states' rights. Whereas if there was a person who didn't agree with that, let's say so much so, then I would say then move out of the state. If you don't agree with the politics of that state, then leave. But if the state, you see, if the whole state legislator agreed on that their constituents agreed with that, then it would be in favor of that state. It's just that's the laws of that state. So I would respect it if it was a specific state, but I wouldn't like necessarily say it should be national. No, it should be up to the states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I can get down with that.
So the next clip about the Supreme Court was this one about birthright citizenship. So really quickly, I'm going to play this clip, and then we can give our thoughts about anchor babies.
Okay, yes. So this is at least a partial, if not a full, and we're reading this because there are several concurrences here, but it's written by Justice Barrett, which goes against the ruling that I just gave the guidance because she's one of the least junior justices, but she was assigned to write this opinion. And essentially what she says, some say that the universal injunctions give the judiciary a powerful tool to check the executive branch, but she says federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies consistent with the authority Congress has given to them. When a court concludes the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed its power, sounding very much like they are limiting these injunctions. We know here that they have granted, at least partially, the stay to these preliminary injunctions, but they say only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to each plaintiff with standing to sue. They say the lower courts have to move expeditiously with respect to each of these plaintiffs. It says the injunctions are also stayed to the extent that they prohibit executive agencies from developing and issuing public guidance about the executive plans to implement the executive order. If you remember, part of this executive order on birthright citizenship, the stay was that the agencies that would be responsible for actually implementing the change with birthright citizenship, those agencies couldn't even start making a plan. So that part of it is lifted as well. We do see that the dissent here comes from the three justices you expect. It looks like Justice Sotomayor filed the dissent. Kagan and Jackson joined that. Justice Jackson also filed a dissenting opinion, but there are a lot of concurrences here. Justice Thomas, Justice Alito, there are others. So we'll parse through this, but at its first blush, it looks like this is a win in putting a limit on these nationwide injunctions. We'll see how far those limits go as we dig back through this.
Got it. Want to bring Jonathan Turley back in. Shannon, thank you. So Jonathan, it sounds like this is kind of what you were mentioning earlier.
Okay, so before anybody has a thought to give, I do want to give a small disclaimer for Seth in the chat. He says, another Fox News report? Really? Well, I'm sorry. It just happened to be Fox News on my algorithm that it was the first thing that popped. I saved it because I wanted to talk about it. But trust me, if it came from any other news network, I would show it regardless. I don't care really where it comes from. This is just informative. So, Jimmy, go ahead. How can if you can just explain a little bit for anybody who doesn't know what that is, and then give your opinion, please.
Yeah, she used a lot of words that a lot of folks may not be familiar with. So I'm gonna break it down into simple terms for everybody. Basically, first off, here's the question: is the Justice Department or any entity of the Justice Department allowed to make laws?
No, the executive?
Okay.
No, right? No.
Yeah, the judicial. They're there to enforce laws, make sure the Constitution is being followed, all that good stuff. Okay, so that's the first thing. They're not allowed to make laws. What they were doing is whenever the executive branch puts out a plan or a proposal and the players to be don't like that plan or proposal, then they go to their little puppet judges and say, hey, I need you to put an injunction on this plan and you need to stop it. But here's the thing. I think there's over like 600 federal judges in the United States. You have some federal district judges. You have a handful that are very left-wing leaning, very socialistic, like the guy running for mayor. So you could have a judge in Oregon say, you know what, we're going to put a stay on this and you're not doing it. And they make it for the whole United States. So what does that do? What does that mean to me? As a citizen of North Carolina, I don't need a judge from Oregon deciding what can and cannot happen. I didn't vote for that judge. So they're using these judges to try to circumvent the executive branch where they're the ones in charge. In the report, she said that the executive branch couldn't even make a plan to address the anchor baby issue.
Yeah,
so this is
legislate from
exactly, and that's what they're doing. So this Supreme Court decision halted the ability of the judges to be able to do that. Make sense?
Yes, thank you, Jimmy. Now, if you have an opinion, you can give it now since you're already here. Go. Do you have an opinion about it? Agree, disagree?
Well, as far as when it comes to the anchor baby issue, this particular ruling doesn't really, it affects it in the beginning, but it doesn't affect the decision of that issue, which will come out in October. So basically now, because the injunctions have been lifted, the executive branch can start putting their plan together. And so by the time they get their plan together, or whatever they're going to present, their lawyers will present to the Supreme Court. They'll decide that probably in October. But what folks have to remember about that law, it only applied to the freed slaves after the Civil War. It does not apply, no matter how many times they want to spin it, it does not apply to illegal immigration.
Oh.
Yes, thank you, Jimmy. So just a response to Seth, because he says, you know, the Supreme Court has their own rulings page. This forum is a joke. Last week was my first time here. This week is probably my last.
Well,
I mean, that's great. If you can get your information straight from the source, congratulations. I mean, that's awesome. But I get most of my news from X. I don't get it from anywhere else. So these are threads from X that I bookmark, and then I share it with everybody else. Now, it is up to you. If you want to go ahead and do more research, then go ahead, go straight to the source. I encourage it. But we thank you for coming and joining and watching and giving us your honest opinions. That's great, Seth. Does anybody else have a comment about the birthright citizenship or ruling for the Supreme Court? Before I play one more clip about what Trump said about it.
I just have something that happened in my hometown. I live in Burlington, Massachusetts, and there was a sex survey given to all the middle school students, and it was pretty disgusting and graphic. So the kids, some of the kids complained to their parents, and they couldn't believe what the survey said. So they have 2 federal rulings against them for the survey that was passed out to all the kids, and the parents had no clue until the kids came forward and told them.
Yep.
And it's online. It's on Burlington, Massachusetts. It's called Youth Risk Sex Survey that were given out to the kids without the parents' permission.
Right.
Yep.
It's things like that kind of started that conversation nationwide. It was like, it wasn't just an isolated event, because even in Florida, that was another issue. So it was many different states having issues with that, and I'm thankful that the Supreme Court actually gave this, you know, these opinions or these rulings that parents can opt out. I wish they would do the same thing with vaccines, but I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to get another strike. But but it's like the exact same thing. Parents should have the ultimate authority, no matter what state you're in or country.
Amen to that.
Okay, so now this is a clip that I also found.
Hold on, Ruby. You can't play this clip because it comes from Fox News. Sorry,
oh my
go ahead.
God, I'm so sorry. We're going to disappoint Seth because it came from Fox News again. I'm so sorry, man. But I mean, these clips are good. I mean, the people who I follow, they just post these good clips. What can I do? Sheesh. I mean, Trump said the exact same thing on every other network.
Yeah.
But sheesh. I'm so sorry, guys.
That's all right.
This decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now properly file to proceed with these numerous policies, and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words. But there's really, she could talk as long as she wants because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today.
All right. So that's what Trump said about it. And I do agree with it. That should have never been something that could be abused, honestly. Like, what other country do you know of that lets people come into their country, have a baby there, and they get full citizenship, like nothing, just because you gave birth in that country? Go ahead, Jimmy.
I think that if we look at this, I think this fulfills 2 points on the Kalergi plan. One, huge immigration to destroy identity. The folks that want to destroy the United States want this birthright. They want this. This is what they want. All right. Which leads into, now they're here, which leads into number 9, like you just said, dependency on the state or state benefits. Well, how can we prove that that is a true fact? There are 1.4 million illegal immigrants receiving health care, free health care. 1.4 million illegal immigrants are receiving full health care. How's your health care today?
Immigrants can get health care through the emergency room, but they do not qualify for Medi-Cal when they're an illegal alien, unless they've already started their process and they have citizenship.
The emergency room will do it. They'll see people, but we're talking about there's more to that. They're receiving taxpayer funds for their health care.
Right. I'm saying there's more to that as well.
Yeah. So as a citizen, why should my tax dollars be going to somebody who crossed the border illegally? Why should my tax dollars be going for their health care when I'm having to spend $700, if my wife's getting a new job, to add me to the insurance is going to cost $700 every 2 weeks?
The hell?
How is that affordable for Americans? And I'm just not the only one. How's your health care? Do you have free health care, folks?
No, I got the best.
Yeah, I take nutritional supplements. I do not take any drugs at all.
I'm with you on that. But it was a rhetorical question because, you think about the health care that Americans, we have a problem with it.
I just think that...
But the illegals are getting it for free off my money? BS.
I think that when we're talking about undocumented migrants, I think that there's an assumption that, like, most of them came, like a wetback, like illegally snuck into California or wherever.
Absolutely, yeah.
That can be the case, but many of them came and are in a process of becoming a citizen. So they have their green card and they have to be here so many years before they can apply for their citizenship. Once they apply for so there's a process that I don't think many people are understanding that needs to go by for them to eventually become a citizen. It's not like super simple and done in a couple of months. And I don't think that the undocumented people are just like the kind that just sneak in here illegally. I don't think that's the case.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Real quick, I remember having it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I missed what you said.
I'll just say, Linda, you're right. There is a process. But if we look over the last 4 years, the percentage of people choosing to do that process outweighs tremendously, percentage-wise, the people trying to do it legally.
Tell me the percentage, Jimmy. Tell me the percentage.
How many people came across the border illegally?
How do we know this?
Millions.
Millions.
Come up with this? I don't think that's. Okay. I'm just saying I don't think that's the case. I know you are saying that it is the case, but you're also bringing up a percentage. And I'm like asking you, what percentage would this be?
In my opinion, this is my opinion, this is from what I've seen, I would say that in the last 4 to 5 years, the people that have crossed the border that have chosen not to do it the right way, I would say it's 75-25.
But I had to throw a fit a few years ago.
That's being generous.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, yeah, I'm just in a disagreement with you because
that's fine. That's
how
fine.
does someone get their green card? You know, like we don't know every single process. I mean, we're hearing about people showing up at court, in court. What would make them show up at court if they're not in a process of becoming a citizen?
If they were wanting to infiltrate the country, you could have terrorists coming in this country. They're not going to show up at court to get a green card.
Why are you speaking of undocumented people and comparing them to terrorists?
Because it's been proven in court that that's happened.
We just had
11
Iranian people that do that. Yes, but I'm just asking you, why are you speaking that way of that amount?
Yeah, I'll just say that in the past week there was 11 Iranian nationals arrested. They came in this country illegally.
Yes.
That's the terrorist cells.
Sleeper cells, yeah.
I'm not saying that there isn't terrorist cells, or I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm just hearing it. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but I'm just hearing it like you just see it, the undocumented as very differently than I do. That's all.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I understand you're probably going to come from it as a human perspective, that they're humans and that you have rights.
I got feelings and all that shit.
I see that, and that's fine if that's the case. But I'm looking at it lawfully. If you're sneaking into this country illegally, one, you just broke the law, and two, you should receive zero of our taxpayer dollars.
And I'm not speaking of coming in here illegally. I'm speaking of undocumented because they have not gone through the whole process of becoming a citizen yet.
I know there is a group of folks that are doing it the right way. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's more people cheating the system than there is trying to do it legally.
That's what I hear from you too.
Yeah,
right.
I totally believe it.
You know, so yeah.
But I think the only reason why they even take the dangerous trip to even do it illegally is because they know that they're gonna get free this or free that, or if they're pregnant and they give birth, their baby's gonna become a citizen. So there's incentive there to do something illegal, and that's wrong. It should not be incentivized or promoted, or it should be known that if you come over that border, you won't make it, so that people don't even try to come over here and make the dangerous trip or do things that they would regret for the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying? It's like it all starts wrong. It all starts wrong and illegal, breaking the law.
And I'm not promoting to do it the wrong way. I'm stating that there are people that are undocumented because they're not a citizen yet, and they might have actually done it the right way. There are those that are out there that do, that are, they got the green card, they have to go through a system.
Yeah, we get that. Yeah.
Right. But that's the fault of the government. This government, it is their fault for leaving it neglected, leaving it the way it is, and not doing this sooner. The birthright thing, that should have been done over 100 years ago. Like after slavery was abolished and they became citizens, that should have been done away with, so that it would never be abused. Like certain amendments like that, I think they should be taken away because it leads to this 100 and something years, 200 years later. So that's why it's historic.
I do hear what you're saying, and I appreciate that. But there was actually a time when people could just show up here if they had a way to get here, and then they could stay. Like they didn't have to go through becoming a citizen. They just had a way here and just could be here and come up with their place. And I mean,
in America,
his grandfather's father was, the birthright citizen. So, I mean, some of us here might have had a birthright citizen ancestor.
May I ask, Linda, what was Ellis Island used for?
For the people to come through and be
Yes.
documented and to
Mhm.
be inspected and to be go to the beginning of the process of becoming a citizen.
Correct.
And there was,
So
what I was saying a minute ago was
What does it
before
say
that,
something about huddled masses and yeah.
Okay, so Dehydrated Nurse said they had sponsors. Is that what you're referring to?
what I've done as far as my homework is that there used to be a time since the United States became the United States that people could just show up here from wherever and they didn't have to go through a process. Today we do, or people that come over here that are not citizens have to go through a process.
I would have to look into. I'd have to fact check that because
Yeah, because I mean, maybe that's what it is, because they had a sponsor and therefore they didn't have to go through the process of what we're talking about.
Right,
Maybe that
right.
could be the case.
And
But
it
there's always
started
been a
in-
process.
I don't think that's the case. That's the disagreement we're
Okay.
having. But I mean, and I think the process probably started for a very good reason. I'm not real clear what year that was or whatever. But like, I have Italian ancestry, and
Right.
there's a term called WAP, right? Without papers. That's what that means. You know, coming over here without papers. Some Italians were called WAPs. So you know
Right, okay.
that's happened over time. That's
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna look into that as well, and we're gonna come back hopefully next Tuesday and touch on that. Go ahead, Jimmy, and then we're gonna.
I think with the folks that came over here, our ancestors that came over here, they came over here because they wanted a better life for themselves. They saw an opportunity here in America, but the key thing that they did is they assimilated to the American way of life and the Constitution. The folks we have coming over illegally, we got to separate the people we're talking about. There's the documented workers that are trying to do the process the correct way that Linda's referring to. But what I'm referring to are the ones who are coming over here illegally that have zero intention of assimilating to the American way of life.
Right, coming in
That's the difference.
droves and truckfuls. Yes.
Yes.
Hi,
Right.
Gilbert.
Okay. Just want to welcome really quickly. Jesse is back on the stage. Go ahead, Jesse.
To be. Hey, I just wanted to throw this at you, Linda and Jimmy and Ruby, Dallas and everybody. Maybe you could comment on it. But I agree with what you guys are saying. It hurts. I'm crushed because I agree with 100% what Jimmy's saying. I'm a naturalized citizen, and I came over as a baby, and I don't need, and I see so many of my fellow countrymen hate America, and a lot of Mexicans or people from other countries, they hate America. They think it's the land of the free things, not the land of the free. But other than that, I don't have no evidence of it, just from what I've seen, anecdotal evidence. I don't do no research, no study, just from what I've seen. But I wanted to share something that our common bond is that we're ex-Jehovah's Witness. And me and Gilbert have been talking about this a lot, and we've done videos about how Watchtower has lost its basic Christianity. You know, Jesus says to shine your light. You don't think they could have set a committee at El Paso, or they could have set a committee in San Diego, or so for repatriation? Like, for instance, we have these tornado and hurricane funds that the Watchtower has for disaster relief. This is a disaster, humanitarian, no matter what side of the political spectrum. That's not what I'm saying. We know some people are going to be repatriated and are Jehovah's Witnesses because the Spanish is growing real big in the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Spanish growth, not the English growth. So there's a lot of illegal aliens in the Kingdom Hall that are going to be deported. Don't you think that Watchtower should have spent some money to have a repatriation so that none of our brothers that are going to go back are going to be homeless? I mean, think about it. If you get deported back to any country, wouldn't it be good if there was somebody? Because remember, all the NGOs were getting all this money to bring over the illegals. Don't you think the NGOs should be spending some money to repatriate so these people don't go back empty-handed?
Yeah, but
And
the Watchtower is going to do whatever makes them more money.
I know. And it's evidence of how they're not Christian. That's what makes my blood boil. Because Humans come before money, God damn it. And this is where they should be spending their millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Billions with a B.
Okay, I was trying to be generous, but yes, I stand corrected.
Well,
Don't you
if
think
they're not
as-
taking care of the Bethelites, what makes you think they're going to take care of the fellow?
It doesn't matter.
Good point.
It does matter. They
brothel.
don't care about the Bethelites who work for them, and then as soon as they reach a certain age, out the door they go. No
Yeah. Jesus gave
retirement,
his
no
life
health
for the-
insurance.
Jesus gave his life for the little ones, not the Bethelites. For the
But
least,
I'm
the
just
least.
making a point that this is how they
Okay.
treat the Bethelites.
I'm not
too. They're
arguing.
going to care about us peons in the congregation.
It's not a Bethel, it's a brothel.
Yes. But here's their
that's
chance
crazy.
to shine their Christian light, and they failed miserably.
Yeah,
And,
thank you
and
so
they
much for
also
that.
were horrible to single parents and widows and the elderly. I have 2 out of 3. I'm a single parent and I'm a senior, and they did not treat me. And I was homeless through to a fire. Do you think any one of them would come to my rescue and help me? No.
Nope.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to point out to this jerk on my Facebook page, and he refuses to believe it.
Yep.
The
All right,
JW's
guys.
charity, no nothing. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you
I'm
so
trying
much
to
for the
know.
commentary. Really appreciate it. I do want to move on to the
Thank
subject of the big, beautiful bill. If you haven't heard about it, then this is the time to talk about it if you want to talk about it, because I didn't read it yet. There's like 1,000 something pages, which is an issue in itself. We should be having single, what they call it, and that's why I like Thomas Macy, because he's for that. What is it, Jimmy?
Single issue.
Yes, single issue bills. But once again, we have this one that's over 1,000 pages long. Who knows if they read it or not? Because how many congressmen and women have already told us that they barely even have time to read them when
They made them read it out loud.
Yeah, they made him read it out loud on the Senate floor this week.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys, because I was not up to date with that. But I mean, that's still an issue, is that they jam pack everything in it. You probably won't know what is in it unless they make them read it or they have read it. So that's an issue. But now there's a lot of like conflicting articles that I was trying to find something neutral. And I guess it's going to have to come straight from the White House website about what it is and what it isn't, because that's the only neutral source I can get about, the big, beautiful bill. I was trying to look on YouTube. I was trying to look on, news channels, and nobody can give me a simple, like less than 5 minutes, explain to me what the big, beautiful bill is. So I'm going to put it out there to you guys in the chat. If you have any information or something neutral to explain it to us, please let me know. You can put it on Facebook, or you can email it, or you can put it in the comments. Send it to me. I am interested. But in the meantime, I'll just show you what it looks like on the White House website. They have the this number system where it tells you where is it at in the system, right? So right now it's up to number 5. It says final passage. And it was hilarious that somebody on Twitter said that it looks like the Domino's tracker of when you're going to get your pizza delivered.
That's funny.
It definitely looks like this is going to be delivered to us really soon, right? So the one big, beautiful bill has passed in the Senate. So that's what happened today, right? Now, I'll just let this play here because this is what it entails, which is what Trump ran on, right? The no tax on tips. Let's see, invests in American infrastructure, lowers energy costs, empowers small business, increases child tax credit. That was one that I was excited for. Slashes taxes on Social Security, etc., right? But then when you look on the internet about it, all it's going to tell you are buzzwords like it's gonna slash Medicare or Medicaid or food stamps or slash taxes for the rich or whatever. And I think we've all heard that for decades. How the Republicans always slash and it's like for the wealthy people or for rich people and nothing for the poor people. And to my understanding, it was like the Democratic Party was for the working class, for the working family, for poor people or whatever. So, I mean, that's how I used to look at politics, but now I don't see it like that anymore. So when I hear these articles or when I'm trying to read it, I don't relate anymore. So I'm a little confused about this bill. So if anybody has information, please let me know.
All right, so I haven't read it, and the reason why, well, one, I haven't taken the time to do it, which is my fault. But the other thing is it's been changing every day for like 2 weeks. There was a different headline about this change, that change, because it goes into the debating process. It goes into the, making amendments to it and all that. And I just didn't have time to keep up with everything. So the consensus that I've heard through the reports that I do get a chance to listen to, this would be the biggest tax decrease in American history. All right, we'll see if that happens. It empowers the small businesses. It gives incentive for them, and it also kicks off people off the system that are cherry picking and gaming the system. So, but however, there was a feature in there called where I mentioned this before, 1.4 million illegal aliens receiving taxpayer funded care.
Right.
This bill kicks them off of that.
Okay, that's what I've heard. Yep.
And so the latest that I saw and that I'm trying to verify, because like I said, this has been changing every day, that there were Senate Republicans who voted to not let that happen. And so I think it's going back to Congress or going back to the House. And from what I'm hearing, I think they put that back in there. So I'm not sure what it's a very fluid situation right now.
Yeah, that's confusing. And to the Republicans who voted against that, against illegal immigrants coming off of that, we need to know their names. So
Murkowski,
now,
Murkowski.
Do you know the states?
Murkowski, I can't remember what state she's in. Somebody can. I think she's in New Hampshire. I could be wrong. But then we had Tom Tillis from North Carolina.
Really?
He voted no. Yes. North Carolina is pissed at Tom Tillis right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what I've started doing. I've started looking at the lists of names that actually voted against American interests, because in my opinion, that is against America first. That's not America first.
And that's what people should be doing. And Tom Tillis made an announcement like a day or two before he actually voted that he wasn't going to be seeking re-election. So now he can vote however his controllers want him to vote, and he's not going to, and he's not going to face it. He's not going up for re-election, so it doesn't matter to him anymore.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, still, it's good to know who on either side, Democrat or Republican or whoever is in Congress, who voted against that, because that goes against American values.
Not just this, that's what people should be doing with everything that comes up for vote in Congress. Find out who voted how.
Right.
And if they voted against American interest, then that's where the people rise up and they primary that person and get them out of office.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So as a voter, I think that's one of the responsibilities. Is like, for me, in my opinion, that would be one of the duties, is to look that up, see what districts in your state, if they did vote it or if they didn't vote. That will tell you everything that you need to know, depending on your politics, whether you agree with it or whether you disagree with it. That would be a red flag. So for example, that would be a red flag for me. If somebody in my district or the state of Florida voted to like against that, that would be a red flag. And then the Republicans that voted and then if they voted for it, like, America first values, then those are the ones who I'm keeping my eye on. Like, this is a good man or woman from Florida. But I didn't look at the list this time. Oh, thank you, Sherry, for joining us. Have a good night. She says she's gonna sign off now.
Sherry.
Thank you, Sherry, for being here.
Good
Yes.
night, Sherry.
Shalom,
Thanks for
Leila
your
Tov,
input.
y'all. Y'all
night,
y'all
Sherry.
can call me if you got my phone number. Okay, bye.
It was good hearing from you.
Yeah, so that's what I do. So that's part of doing your homework when it comes to your state, your district, whatever the case may be. Look up those names and how did they vote. And if it does go against, then write a letter. You know what I'm saying? Like, make your voice be heard. That's something that I would do in the future. I haven't done it yet, but I would definitely do that. Okay, so if anybody in the future, if you see this stream and we're talking about this and things change, because it might change, definitely let me know in the comments, because I am interested in knowing if it does pass, what does it mean for us? Oh, JG said in the comments.
Did pass. Yeah, it was 50-50, and Vance voted, so it was 51-50. That's the last I heard tonight.
Yeah, it passed out of the Senate, but I think they sent it back to the. I got to double check, but they got to send it back to the House for some reason. I can't remember what that reason is for. And then I don't know, after they're done there, I'm not sure exactly if it goes straight to President Trump's desk or it needs to go back to the Senate. So
yeah, because I did hear that they said they wanted to reach his desk before July 4th.
Yeah.
So that's on Friday.
Yeah, because there's a big celebration on the 4th.
Right.
Right. That's what Trump wants, but it still has a few more steps to go.
Yeah.
Right. Really quickly, JG in the comments says, this bill has a free gift to all newborn babies born January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2029, called Trump accounts. They're actually called MAGA accounts. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Where my taxes are being given to babies. Crazy pork-filled bill. Well, I think it's an account where if you do have a baby within President Trump's term, then you could open up an account. I think it's a HSA, like a health savings account, or it can be like an annuity where you put money in. Okay, so it's something like that. It has to be either one of those, which I remember studying that, Jimmy, for the life insurance certification. Yeah, and I remember learning about that. So now
is that like an incentive for having children?
Yeah, like. I mean, it could be. It could be interpreted as an incentive, but I think also it's an economic resource. Like, it would be amazing if, let's say, I had a baby between that time period, and I open up an account, and for the whole life of the baby, or maybe till 18, maybe it increases money every year, and I could contribute to that. By the time the baby is 18 years old, he's got a couple $1,000s. I mean, that's great. Have you ever heard a president do something like that before? I haven't.
I like the fact that you said there's two ways to look at it, as an incentive to have babies and to have it to where they've got money down the road. There are other leaders throughout history who did not like the globalist elite system, and they too did something like this. Offer families to have children. There's a financial aspect, and the other aspect is this. Look at our birth rate, the replacement factor in the birth rate. Here in America, we're not having babies like we used to. What's one of the reasons why people don't have babies? One of the reasons is it's too expensive.
Right.
So now Trump is wanting to set up something that would incentivize and help that family. And that's a good thing, I think. I personally, as a taxpayer, would rather my tax dollars go to something like that instead of somebody coming over illegally and getting everything for free.
Right. Okay. So JG
I think
says
we
no.
should raise the minimum wage. That might help.
Yeah. No. That's a good point, but that's a whole nother subject that will be for another show.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's a good idea in theory, but
did you not ask why are people not having babies? Did you not ask that?
What's that?
Did you not ask why are people not having babies? And then you went on to say because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking about minimum wage, and that's
I understand that. That sounds like a great idea, but you got to look at the underlying financial impact that raising the minimum wage would have on a company, and then what they would have to do to offset those costs. And who does that get sent to? the consumers who are going to end up paying a higher price for a product because the company has to shell out more money. It's a whole nother, like Ruby said, it's a whole nother a set of dominoes. It's a great idea, but
it is.
But economically, it doesn't work.
Our rent goes up every year. Everything else, prices are going up every year on many, many things. But if the minimum wage doesn't go up, then we have two partners, the mother and the father working. Then we got to pay somebody to raise our kids. I mean, yeah,
exactly. That's why the system is broken, and that's where inflation comes in, and that's a whole when we talked about the whole money video long time ago that Jimmy shared with us. That's what that is. But we're definitely I'm gonna write that down as a subject that we should go more into, because I remember going down that road, and I used to think the same way you did, Linda. I had that same opinion years ago, but I have since changed it. So that's a great subject to talk about. Just really quickly, in the chat, John Marciano says that he's still waiting for the Doge $5,000 check. Now, why wasn't this in the bill, right? Because I'm assuming that we were gonna take that money, and give it back to the people. That would be something that I would agree with, to give our money back. And we haven't heard about that since, Jimmy. So I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on, but
honestly, I think it was just an idea floated out there. I don't think it was actually said this is going to happen. So they talked about it. It's starting to rain again. They talked, but I heard about it. I didn't give it much attention because I thought it was just them talking. I didn't think they were serious about it at the time.
Okay, so
it was Elon who said it.
Okay, that good point. Thrifty says the big beautiful bill removes Planned Parenthood as an approved provider for Medicaid. Now that's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Fighter of Truth says they need to raise the cap on Social Security to at least $250,000. That would definitely help keep it solvent. JG clarifies about the MAGA account for babies. He says, no, it's free, $1,000 from the government. Okay, so now I remember now. Yeah, so the government sets it up with the free first $1,000. Now I'm wondering whether or not we could add into it, or does it just make money like a percentage, like an indexed, what you call it? I forgot what it's called, Jimmy. What is it called?
Annuity?
Yes, like annuity index, something like that. That is connected to the S&P 500 or something like that. That it'll create money on its own, basically. So that's interesting. I want to look that up. Okay, just wanted to. Oh, I want to welcome a new person in the chat. Jake Day is in the chat. He says, if you're wealthy and elderly, you shouldn't be pulling from Social Security. Wow, interesting. Interesting take. Okay, some people are saying good night. So whoever is going to sleep, good night. We are also going to wrap it up. The last subject is the Alligator Alcatraz. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm going to play you a clip. Okay, good. I'm going to play you a clip now of what that is happening in Florida. Let me share my screen with you guys. So sorry, I lost it. Okay, so this is really interesting. This is a new facility that would be housing, I guess, like illegal immigrants.
Attorney General James Uffmeyer here at the Miami-Dade Collier training facility. This is an old, virtually abandoned airport facility right in the middle of the Everglades. Florida's been leading on immigration enforcement, supporting the Trump administration and ICE's efforts to detain and deport criminal aliens. The governor tasked state leaders to identify places for new temporary detention facilities. I think this is the best one. As I call it, Alligator Alcatraz. This 30 square mile area is completely surrounded by the Everglades. Presents a efficient, low-cost opportunity to build a temporary detention facility because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. People get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Within 30 to 60 days after we begin construction, it could be up and running and could house as many as 1,000 criminal aliens. This presents a great opportunity for the state of Florida to work with Miami-Dade and Collier counties. Alligator, Alcatraz, we're ready to go.
All right, Jimmy. I see you smiling over there. Let us know your thoughts or opinions. Go ahead.
All right, so sorry, it started raining here again. Simply, I love the idea. It's great. I have no problem with it at all. Let it fly. That's how I feel.
All right. So just to recap what that is, if you guys don't know about it, right here in Florida and the Everglades, they're going to use like an old airport area, which is swampy. It's literally in the middle of nowhere where they are going to be bringing people there. And Florida will activate the National Guard to like make decisions, I guess. Like they don't have to go through ICE, I believe. So they will be taking anybody who is in Florida illegally, they'll be taking them there. And I doubt that anybody would escape from there. So it might be like a 90% rating of getting these people to either a court date or deported. You know, who knows the process and what would happen. But I think Florida is really taking it seriously by doing something like this. And I think it was today that Trump came to Florida and he toured it, actually. So there was a lot of media over there. So everybody is talking about this. They already have merch out there. People are buying hats and shirts, and like it's becoming a thing. But that was another like common sense thing for me. I was like, why can't we create a natural, so a resource from our nature? Like, why do we have to continue spending money on a wall or money on this or money on that? We should be able to use our own resources, or like our own citizens. Like I told Jimmy before, like, would it be so wrong if citizens took it upon themselves to handle it, like border states to like let the states handle it? Well, like, why is that such an issue? And it's because the federal government takes control of the border. And I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't know. To me, I think that this is good. We're moving in the right direction, but this would not be necessary if the border wasn't wide open for years. Like not even under Biden, even before Biden, like even before that one and before that guy and before that president. Why has that always been an issue? Why couldn't it be solved overnight?
Yeah.
So
I also think that this is not just going to be for illegal aliens and illegal immigrants. I think it actually might be for some of these people that are being arrested right now for insurance fraud. There was like 600 people that were arrested for the biggest insurance fraud in the history of the United States this week. There was that.
Yeah.
You got a lady from Democratic state treasurer or something. I think it was from California. She was just sentenced to 10 years in prison for embezzlement and some other stuff she did. So if, I'm just going to speculate, if there's some bad actors that are being rounded up for treason and things like that, this wouldn't be a bad place to hold them, because what's not too far away from there? Gitmo. It could be a nice little stopping point, a nice little layover on the way to Gitmo. That's just me speculating.
All right. So, yeah, I think that was it for me and Jimmy. We have reached the 3-hour mark. I know we usually stay like for a whole nother hour, but I am going to save my clips for next Tuesday. Hi, Dallas, or bye. We're going to wrap it up. So if anybody has any final thoughts or anything to add, now would be the time to do so. Welcome to the stage, Gigi.
Well, I'm not to be today because my brother Tubi was here earlier.
Yeah.
And to answer her question, Apostle Babe, the reason rents are going up and people can't buy a home is because there's a fraud happening right now. It's a major fraud, and it's going to be hitting the news, and you guys will see it. I'm just looking at these guys that they've been doing great work in Texas. I'll give you an example. He talks about this one court case where, just do it real quick. A house is worth $1,100,000, but by the following year, it goes up to $1,800,000. So this is where the lack of education of the American people, of financial education, also by religion, has allowed them to be ripped off. The average person says, "Oh, I made $800,000 on my home." No, you didn't. They have increased the property taxes of every home in Texas. And in some cases, they've increased it over 300 times percent higher than the rate of inflation. The prices did not go up. What's happening is this, Linda. They have the school districts, the appraisal districts, and the Republican governor and Secretary of State who signed off on these bonds have borrowed more money than the people can pay back. And guess how they borrow it? They borrow it on the house that you live in, the apartment complex that you live in. They've literally have violated their own constitution in Texas, where they have exceeded their borrowing limits by the Constitution. So everyone thinks, "Oh, I made $800,000 on my home because I'm richer now." No, you're not. You just got screwed by a higher tax bill. And so it's called inflation. And inflation is just when the government steals, is inflating the price of everything. But the problem is, you're right. The prices of your wages do not go up, but everything else is going up. But why is it going up? Because in this case of Texas, of Democrats and Republicans, the school districts, and it's going to the state Supreme Court in Texas and also to the U.S. This is major fraud happening everywhere. Your house value is not going up. In Phoenix, Arizona, in 2008, I remember a cop pulled me over because I was in an alley, and he thought I was like trying to buy drugs or sell drugs or whatever. Right. And I told him, no. I go, they have the whole house is boarded up and they have it for $39,000. I go, you can buy this for $39,000. It was 2008. And then the cops was like, "Oh yeah, this is a good deal." So real estate prices had dropped by over 50, 60, 100%. I mean, 60%. But what was happening? Fraud was taking place, and the government was trying to. So right now, what we're having is the government is over borrowing, and they're leaving you with a bill, and you as a renter have to pay a higher rate because your landlord has to pay a higher rate in what he thinks his property value is going up. And this goes back to Donald Trump and Elon Musk in the fight. Elon Musk is mad because the big beautiful bill is going to add over $2 trillion or $3 in the national debt.
Right.
So one of two things: either Trump is stupid, or he knows that it's going to crash. The news is coming out right now. More and more bank closures are going to be announced all over the country. We're just going to close this branch. We're going to close this branch. Something is happening. So Donald Trump is either stupid, which I doubt. I think he's up ahead of the game, and he's not letting it's closed lip. I think Elon Musk is out of the loop. He can't let Elon Musk know what's going to happen. And the only solution, in my opinion, for this is what everyone has been saying, is a great reset, but not a reset by the World Economic Forum. People call it the Jubilee, where the Bible, God instituted a reset every 50 years. It is impossible for two kids that get married right now in America and buy a home. In the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, we all grew up in that era. Every 20-year-old kid could get married and buy a home.
I was a 20-year-old kid then, and my past week.
And the reason we can't do it now is because inflation is when the Federal Reserve is literally putting air in the bubble, and it's just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the government is at fault, because this is the other reason why. We have centralized control. When the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C. is loaning money for homes in easy money in Southern California, and they go, "Oh, what? You have 98-degree temperature and you served in the military? You're approved. You don't even have to have a job." I mean, it's just easy money. Whereas before, in the 1970s and 80s and 90s, the local banks had to make the decision. And the local banks will say that there's no way in hell that you're going to convince me that house is worth $1.8 million. Just not. So what we have right now is a systemic fraud, and it's like a cancer and it's not just in the Democrat Party. The biggest fraud case that we have right now on real estate scam is in the state of Texas. The state of everyone says, "Oh, my house is going up in Texas. My house." No, it's not. Your house value is going up to justify the loans that the school districts have taken on behalf of you, the renter or the homeowner. And so everybody's rent is going up, the house is going up. But the only winner are the people that sell and leave, get out, or the school districts and the local tax revenue. Meanwhile, they blame everybody else. They blame everybody else for the problems when it's the central banks that are the problem. When it's the banks in New York City that are the problem. This is why from the founding of our country up to the 1980s of Ronald Reagan, all homes, we saw it in the movie with Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life, all mortgages were done on a local level. So that way, if some stupid idiot in some city in Idaho wants to make bad decisions, it's not going to affect people living in Miami. So right now, what we have is the Federal Reserve just lending free money, and people saying, "Guess what? I'm going to buy a home and I'm going to do a Airbnb." And they did that in Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is now there's news articles everywhere. Las Vegas is going and suing people, say, "Hey, guess what? It's illegal to have an Airbnb in Las Vegas because we have all these hotels." And people have sued. People have sued and lost, and they lost their home, they lost everything. But why is it? Because people in Washington, D.C. are just saying, pump money, give money. And they just keep pumping it.
You know what, Gilbert? You've always been extremely good at explaining finances. And you've made a few videos over the years. And I want to encourage you to do some more. Okay? Because you just explained it and it made sense to me. And things don't always make sense to me the first time. And I think that's a gift of yours. And you said a minute ago something about a bubble. My previous husband and I were looking at buying apartment buildings. Okay? But then I knew that there was this bubble that was going to burst in 2007. And I said, we should not buy this because then we'd have to come up with the full amount of whatever the rest was that we had to pay on it, right?
Yeah.
He was furious with me, but is that something that could happen with this bubble?
No,
you're talking about?
This is how you know there's a bubble. And it happened in 2008. I remember reading it in MSN.com. It's real simple. In 2008, people with 800 credit score, perfect credit, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, they were selling their homes and renting apartments because the smart money knew that everything was a lie. They just knew it was a lie.
Wow.
And they got out. And then when they got out, they went in and bought the real estate at 50% discount. So when the smartest rich people like Robert Kiyosaki and all these other people, they're telling you, hey, now's not the time to be buying. Now's the time to sell if you haven't done it already, because shit's going to hit the fan. But it's normal because this has happened all in the Bible, all in human history. It's a cycle. It's a history. Things get inflated, then they pop. Things get inflated, then they pop. And right now we're living in that. So it's unsustainable. You can't have a country when 20-year-old kids can't get married and buy a home.
Right.
You just can't. You go to school and you have $70,000 in student loan debt. You can never buy a home.
Yes. And my parents, their parents would buy them a home as a wedding gift, which was super easy to get, But my question again,
and Donald Trump has.
Are we to expect I might have missed this. Are we to expect the bubble to burst?
Yeah.
And like last time, it seemed that the owners of homes got screwed over, but the banks got reimbursed.
That's called a bailout, where the government bailed out the banks. But this is where it all changed. It's called the I forget the act. But anyways, here's the point. Now it's called bail-in. Anybody that knows anything about finance, anything, and been watching this for the last 10 years, knows that the new rules in your checking account, if you open up a checking account and you were to actually read all of the pages, it's called a bail-in, which means that the day is going to come when your bank is going to tell you, hey, we went bankrupt, and all of the money that you have, it's not yours. Every time you make a deposit in Wells Fargo and Bank of America, you are lending the bank your money. See, they owe you. It's not your money. They don't have your money. They owe you money. So if they were to go bankrupt, you're the one, and everybody collectively loses their money first on deposit.
Please make a video about this. Please.
Yeah,
Please
Gilbert,
make a video
please.
about this.
Please,
Yeah,
Gilbert.
this is why you keep your money out of the bank, and
Thank
but yeah. So there has to be a reset because it's unsustainable when young kids and Donald Trump has to get with Bernie Sanders on this student loan issue, because a student loan is a perfect example where the government is just giving free money. You want to go to college? Sure, we'll give you a loan, guarantee it, and we'll force you to pay back. Then what do the universities do? They raise the tuition, and then all the kids are like, "Hey, why is it so expensive?" Because in the 70s and 80s, the banks would have to hold on to that note, and then they would say, how am I going to give you a loan to go to college when you get a 2.0 GPA? But if you were to go to the bank and say, listen, I have a 4.0 GPA and I'm being sponsored by Sony, I'm being sponsored by Toyota, they'll give you a loan. So they didn't have they didn't have the student loan crisis. And the student loan crisis is caused because the Federal Reserve, the government, is pumping money. They're pumping and giving everybody money, and they don't care. And then what happens? That's how the rich get richer, because they have first access to that money. The university got richer because they got the money first. The people on the bottom.
You're explaining something to me that I've never been able to figure out. How are the rich getting richer? And you've just given a really good example.
Because they have the answer to that myself.
Because they have access to the money first.
That's amazing.
Because they have access to the money first. So when the kid gets a loan for, say, $100,000, he gives it to Harvard. Harvard is the first one to get the money. And so 4 years later, that money has already trickled down, and then that kid gets a job.
Yeah.
But by that time, Harvard already made their money because they were the first ones to get it. Now everything else is more expensive. But they bought everything when it was cheaper because they were the first ones to get the money. Rich people are the first ones to get federal money, and they buy things cheap.
Yeah. I mean,
as everything goes,
Elon's a great example, right?
Yes.
Federal money. You know, who's the welfare queen here? Could be Elon, if we're going to put it in that category, right?
Right. So if this is the problem with us. So if I got money first from the government, and then I bought a piece of land, 2-3 years later, that land goes up, and I made money on the inflation because I got the money first.
What a trip! Making money on the inflation.
Yes,
never
that's
heard of such a thing.
So rich people don't have money. This is why Robert Kiyosaki has no money. He immediately puts it back into real hard assets.
And see, you know what?
Save.
Gilbert, I've always lived below the poverty level. I've never understood this whole financial stuff. So you're explaining it so well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Gigi. But I do have one. Oh, sorry, Gail. Go ahead.
I just want to say I could listen to Gilbert all night, but I gotta go. And thank you, Gilbert. I appreciate
have a good night, Gigi.
Thank you. Are you gonna bring this up again at all, Gilbert?
Yeah, but just don't worry because everything is good. It's like a forest fire. Forest fire is the best thing that can happen to a forest because it gets rid of the dead brush. The best thing that can happen to us is if there's a reset, not by Klaus Schwab or the WEF, but there's just a real reset. Like we should pray to God, please reset our country. Hit the button. That's the best thing that could happen because at the end of the day, the working class gets to work the very next day. The people that lose in the Great Reset are people who have their money in paper and government workers.
And see, I think it's going to be those that are already like disabled and stuff on SSI and stuff, and they're going to get dead. You know, but I don't know this whole picture.
No, yes, they're the collateral.
I'll have you on my show too to kind of explain some of that.
Yeah, I'd like to listen.
But no,
Thank you.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Things are good. But Donald Trump is not being honest with us. He knows more. He knows more than, and he's quiet. And that big beautiful bill is adding a lot of debt. And so I don't think he's stupid. I just think he's like playing poker. He's holding information. He knows.
But I do have one comeback for you, Gigi, from Fighter of Truth in the chat. When you were speaking about Texas, she said that, well, Texas has been run by Republicans for the past 25 years. So what would you say to that comment?
Well, you know what, Ruby, when the opportunity to steal $100 comes to you, you're like, nah. But when you have billions of dollars, billions, in Texas case, it's over $1 trillion. And the governor, the Republican governor and the Republican Secretary of State sign off on the counties borrowing money that exceed their limit. So it's like the Greg Abbott has said your credit card limit is $2 million, but we're going to let you borrow $50 million. No, you knew this was illegal. But what's happening is Texas is in a conundrum right now, and you guys are going to be hearing about this in a few more months because the state constitution is trying to ignore it. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to touch this, but the United States Constitution is Supreme Court is going to get involved and say, well, you guys broke your own law.
Right. Yes.
And what do? Everybody who rents and owns a home now pays higher monthly payments, which is inflation, because the money is they were taxed, and somebody just says, well, your house is now worth 2 times as much. Says who? Says who? No, they're always raising the price of your home, and you fall for it. But what they don't tell you is they're always raising your taxes. Just real quick, there was a girl that did a TikTok video. That's how I learned about this stuff. She was saying that she goes, I don't know why I was overdraft. There's always money in my account to make the mortgage payment. Well, guess what? The bank says, yeah, but you don't have enough money in escrow. Your taxes went up $1,000 a year. That's $100 a month.
Right.
Times every parcel, every single block in your county is now paying $200 more a month. And what do they tell you? Look over there. But guess what? Your house is worth more. See, they're stealing from you, but they're telling you to look over there.
So how do we fix this? Do we take away those, like, property taxes is one thing that I think Florida was talking about, and I don't know why it hasn't been done yet. But
one way to do it is you go to Real Estate Mindset on YouTube, Real Estate Mindset, and then they'll send you to their website. If you have a property in the state of Texas, you actually sue. It's a form that all you just put your name and address, and you list your name along with thousands of people that are suing, kind of like a class action, and telling the Supreme Court, the state legislature, the Secretary of State, and the Republican governor knowingly allowed school districts to build stadiums for billions of dollars in their jurisdiction. Meanwhile, everybody gets stuck with the debt. But the good news is that your house is now worth twice as much, but nobody can afford to buy your home because nobody makes that much money.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, why was that even allowed to be in the beginning? Like you said, they broke their own law. So why was it even allowed for them to even access those funds and screw over the people?
Because the temptation is great. And this is the other thing. Check this out. This is the most nefarious thing of it all. When you start taxing people's property and you put it all together, together in a box and you call it a bond. And then you say, guess what? This is AAA rated because it belongs to the county of Texas in some county, and it's a government one, and it was stamped by the governor of Texas, and he did all of his due diligence. So then now that bond goes to New York City, and it goes to your 401k, it goes to your pension, it goes to the Russians, it goes to the Chinese, it goes to the Japanese, it goes all over the world, and they have successfully screwed everyone.
Yep.
It's the house of cards.
Yep.
So the good thing is we need to pray. I'm telling you, pray to God, Please.
Okay, Jimmy.
Reset.
All these
Bring
times
the
I've
reset.
been giving you crap about, I don't understand why what I just said doesn't have anything to do with what you just said. I'm kind of getting an idea why. Okay.
So
Yeah, this is why I said earlier that everybody has different skills and different attributes to bring to this fight, and Gigi just proved it. I mean, he's got the economic. He can explain the economic stuff. I mean, I agree with everything he said. I know what he's talking about, but sometimes when it comes to the economic stuff, I can't explain it as well.
He just connected some dots for me. Thank you.
And the last thing is Jake Day on the comment is wrong. Reset won't happen. You don't understand. It's called
reset's happening.
It's called gravity. Jake, there's no amount of fingers that Donald Trump can put on a dam that's going to keep that water. We're talking numbers in trillions. We're talking we're talking over $100 trillion in I forget the name of the word. It's just funny money, kind of like when you go money, just digits. You can't. There's too many holes. The dam is going to break, and that's the best thing. So when that happens, don't be afraid. Thank God the dam broke, because guess what? We finally can all start again.
Yes. Gigi, I wanted to bring this out. Where did all this, what is the head of the snake in this? I mean, I know what it is, but what's the head of the snake causing all these financial problems for us?
It's Luxembourg. Listen, if they just bombed the shit out of Luxembourg.
Okay, so okay, hold on. That's not exactly where I was going with. Okay. But here in the United States,
it's the Rothschilds and the Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve. Mm-hmm. So here's the.
It's they're bombing the wrong people.
Yeah. Wow. You get rid of the Federal Reserve, and everything that Gigi just said goes away.
Wow.
Would you agree with that, Gigi?
Yeah. So it's real simple. It's real simple how the country was founded. The job of the federal government is just to make the paper currency and the coin, gold and silver coins, just that. Every state is the one that regulates it. So this is the reason why. If one state is doing bad things, let them. Everyone is just going to vote and put their money in a different state. And that's how it was for the longest time. Don't you remember why when you had a credit card back in the day, Linda will remember, it always said South Dakota or Delaware. It would always say Delaware or South Dakota, because
I was one of those women who couldn't get a credit card without my husband. Okay.
But that was the whole point. So those two states cornered the credit card business, and every state had their laws. So you had 50 states competing for all of these banks to do business with them. So the job of the government is to make sure you have a currency and a coinage, but the job of the banking is up to the state, because it minimizes the risk, because you have 50 states competing for your money. Does that make sense?
I'm going to need pictures, but this is really helpful.
I see, Gigi, when you talk about either Trump is stupid or he's got something else going on, I believe that the Fed, from in the realms that I look at, and it's not public yet, but I believe the Fed is gone, and we're just watching it all play out, and things are changing. Trump wants to get rid of the Federal Reserve, and when I say that we've been on two parallel economies, I think we're seeing the dying system of the Federal Reserve and the new system coming in. And sorry, that's not meant to trigger anybody.
No,
but
everyone is calling it the new system. Everyone, and Jesse and I have been talking about it for over a
quantum financial system, one that's backed by the Constitution, and one that kicks out the Fed. You get rid of the Fed, and all of this stuff goes away.
But there is one problem, though, Jimmy. Sorry to interrupt you. Is because I've never heard Trump ever say that.
Yes, he has.
The Fed.
Him and Bessent have said that there needs to be a new system. They've talked about it, and this is not a coincidence with the Jehovah's Witness Bible. It's a New World Order Bible. It says it on the front cover.
But the other problem with that is that Thomas Macy, who we've talked about before, that Trump is trashing him left and right on the internet. He was the only other politician that has ever said end the Fed. So why would you be against the only other person who would actually agree with you if you believed that?
Because Donald Trump is a poker player. Donald Trump is a casino owner. He knows one thing: we are going to have a new system. We are going to have a reset. It's either going to be done by the globalists, or he's going to cut them off at the pass. And that's where Donald Trump. This is why I think Donald Trump is quiet about it. So by Donald Trump going after Macy, that's fine. He's collateral damage. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump knows he has to bring in the new system before the world economic brings it in. Donald Trump knows that, he knows it's going to happen. They know it's going to happen.
Right. It's just how it goes. Yeah.
He just needs to beat him to the punch. And he's not going to beat him to the punch by making friends with Massey. It's he's going to. Donald Trump always does this. He head fakes you.
Yeah, but why? I don't understand. Macy is the only other America first. He actually cares about America. So why would you be against one of the only other congressmen that is of it? You know what I'm saying? They should be on the same team. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So why is he treating him like this? I don't get it.
It does sound like that, Ruby. It does sound like they should be on the same team.
Again, it's one word. It's called strategy. I don't think Donald Trump is going to give all of his cards out. He's going to make you think.
Again, it kind of goes to what we were talking about with the whole Elon thing, Ruby. Is it a show? Are they pretending to hate each other? Is this something that's happening right now between Trump and Macy? That's possible.
No, I think they don't know it. I think the only one that knows it is Donald Trump. They don't know their players. He's using them.
Oh, okay. That I think I might agree with a little bit more, because I believe it's all real. Honestly, this is happening in real time, and
Donald Trump knows they're going to forgive him. Donald Trump knows at the very end, when he pulls the rug out, and if he's successful, Elon Musk and
Dallas
are going to love him.
Oh yes, Jesse, welcome back. Go ahead.
Better keep going.
That not to be guy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one last question to Jimmy and to anybody else who believes that theory. What if it doesn't happen? Then what?
We're screwed.
It's been nice knowing you.
Really? What's gonna happen? Is it going to be like 2008, or is it going to be World War III? Like what is it? Because something's gonna give. And if it's not a war, or if it's not a market crash or something of that nature, then what is it? What do we have to look forward to?
I'll look at this real easy. If the Fed is not taken out and destroyed, we will continue on living the way we've been living, and even worse. You get rid of the Fed, and we see a lot of good changes for everybody. That's just a simple way I'm looking at it.
But when a president has actually said that out loud, they assassinated him. So what makes you think that that's going to happen now if it didn't happen then?
Because I think this is a different ball game than we've been playing for all these past 40, 50, 60, 80 years. I think this time is different. Now, could I be wrong in the future? Yes, I could be. Will I have to come back, as a little old Jimmy and be like, I was wrong about it?
Yes, Jimmy, you were wrong. Jimmy misled me.
Yeah. So that's how I am right now. I'm like, I that's why I don't worry about anything. I'm with Gigi. This stuff is happening. There is going to be a reset. And I don't think it's going to be the globalist World Economic Forum reset that they want.
Okay. So I see it. I see it. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree, but I see it. All right, guys. So I didn't think we were going to stay for this long, but we stood another extra 40 minutes. So if anybody else has a final thought, say it now, and I will thank everybody. Go ahead, Jesse.
Final thought. Hey, it was 117 in Yuma today around 4 o'clock, and I couldn't get satisfied with water. So I'm getting old. So sometimes when I heal something else breaks, because I'm 56 now. So everything turns to crap. Like the Rolling Stones were right. What a drag it is getting. But my wife, look what she's making me. She's putting this what's this called, Lisa? Cucumber and lemon in the water.
Nice.
And it's better than any drug I've ever had. I mean, it's just the greatest. It's better than alcohol.
That's it. That
Add,
is good.
add some apple and ginger to it.
Some apple?
Apple and ginger.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say gin. I was gonna. All right. Okay.
Because I do the same thing. I have a cucumber, apple, water, ginger mix I make, and it's really good.
Okay, I got ginger in the fridge. I'm gonna try that out.
Oh, nice, Jesse. Well, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank
Dallas,
you to
Apostolate.
yes.
Cheers.
Lisa's awesome. Your wife is amazing.
Nice meeting you,
Cheers.
Jesse. Nice meeting you, Jimmy, too.
Yeah.
Good seeing you, Dallas.
And
Good to see you, Houston.
Joseph, he wasn't on tonight. He was in comments, but he wasn't on. Joseph.
I was actually bothered last week because we had or the one guest that came on, he was really enthusiastic. So he kept interrupting when Joseph was
that
talking.
guy was wild, huh?
He was just really energetic, you know. Just
Yes, very
I don't think he
passionate,
was-
which
exactly.
I
but it was
like
cutting
it.
off
I love it.
Joseph. He
What was
cutting
his
off
name? Was his
Joseph,
name Luis?
And I don't think he even realized he was doing
No.
it. And
Jose? Jose.
Yeah, Jose.
Joseph is a man of wisdom. That's for sure.
Jose's
Yeah, but-
very patriotic.
Yes.
Jose, can
Yes.
you see?
And I actually love it. I encourage it. I love it. And I'm happy he hopped on. But that's why I have the rules in the description. That's why I gave a friendly reminder. I put a post on the Facebook just in case, because I know that a lot of new people are gonna come on and it might, rub them the wrong way, or they might get too passionate. And sometimes that may happen. But I still appreciate it. And I also wanna address Seth in the chat as well. Like, he got a little I don't know, maybe offended, maybe.
Why?
But that's why I always try to put a disclaimer that this show is not for the weak, guys. Like, you got to prepare yourself to come on here. So I do appreciate even Slavika, she made some comments like she probably won't, come back or watch again. That's okay too. I am open to all political stances and everything, as long as you keep it respectful. We have a zero tolerance for bullying or name calling. That's all I ask. And if you ever wanted to join, don't be afraid to join and talk about something. But be prepared for the heat is what I'm saying, because I am not going to self-censor. I will never self-censor.
Be prepared for the heat.
Yeah, exactly. You see, he came prepared, and it can be it could be great for everybody. So I love it. I love Seth's participation, Slavika, Gigi, Gail, Dallas, Linda, Jesse, and anybody else. If I missed anybody who else joined,
Jimmy.
especially Jimmy, of course, Jimmy, and everybody in the chat section. This is just who I am, who we are together. And if you're not ready for this, that's okay. You can come back when you're ready, and rejoin us. I will never close the door on that or block people. Now, there will be exceptions. Like, I will block somebody if it's a continual bullying or harassment or defamation or slander. I just won't tolerate that.
Yep.
But otherwise, I am open to it all. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Jimmy, go ahead. Your last word.
I enjoyed the episode tonight. I hope everybody looks into the Kalergi plan, make a decision for yourself whether or not it's a conspiracy. Look at the examples of some of the stuff that's happening today in our country, and compare that to the agenda of what these controllers have been trying to do for us for so long. What in the world? Sorry. Something making noise out here, and I don't know what the hell it is.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, I tell everybody all the time that we're watching a movie that I think this war is going to have a lot more twists and turns, but I think there's going to be more things that come out that people are going to question, and it gives us an opportunity to help explain things. Now, I might not be able to explain things perfectly, but that's why we have folks like Gigi who can come on and fill the void. So if you have a specific area that you're versed in and you want to share it with us, we'd be more than happy because we all learn together.
Right.
And, I don't know everything. I kind of don't want to know everything either. But it's always nice to be able to hear different perspectives, different viewpoints. And there's no problem in that at all, as long as everything's done mutually respectful. Don't make it personal, because we all want the same thing. We all want, a roof over our head, healthy food to eat, adequate health care, just the right to, have that pursuit of happiness, as the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence says. So we have more in common than we have disagreements on. Let's handle those disagreements respectfully and move forward as a nation and as humanity. That's how I feel.
Yes, and thank you to Jake. He just super chatted $4.99. He says, "Thanks for hosting, Ruby. You are a good speaker." Aw,
That's cool.
Thank you so much, because I feel like I'm super uneducated. Like, I didn't even go to public school. I was raised in a cult, etc. So this is you guys are seeing me evolve into my adulthood as well, and into my identity in politics. You know what I'm saying? So we're all on this journey together, and I thank you guys for being here with me and listening and putting up with me, really, because I know I've said crazy things. All right, I'm not like
come on, Ruby.
I know I might not be an easy person, but it is what it is. Like, I am living out loud now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid anymore. So it is what it is. And every day I am still learning with people like Jimmy and you guys. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. I appreciate that, because it makes me feel like I'm finally thinking for myself, whether it be politically or socially or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to kind of bring to you guys, and I love it when people join me on my show and they share it with me too, because it is encouraging for me too. It makes me do my homework. It makes me think twice, like, hey, maybe I should reconsider something. And the next Tuesday I say, hey guys, I thought about something and I think I'm done with this, or I think I'm for this. But right now, Jimmy, to be honest, there is one update that I keep forgetting to give you guys.
Oh, what is that?
I am going to be switching my party. I am going to take the leap. I am going to get out of the Republican Party, and I am going to join the Constitution Party. I've been thinking about it for so long, man. I felt like it was like it feels like a wedding day or like a baptism. It feels like an important milestone in my life or something. I'm like, I really want to switch my party, and I felt so like I gotta vote red no matter what, or I gotta vote for this person or that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like that responsibility, and I'm like, I'm done with that. I want to get away from the Republican Party, and I want to be in my real home, like my real identity. So I think I'm going to switch really soon, like maybe before the end of this year. I'm still thinking about it, but I'm just saying, like, I think I might do it.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, I got that off my chest. Thank you, because I felt like
it's no big deal. I mean, hey, you support the Constitution, and I'm all with you on that. Doesn't matter. It don't even matter what party it is. If you're supporting the Constitution, I'm down with that.
Yes, yeah. So.
And somebody asked me the other day. They said, "Oh, Jimmy, when are you going to get off the Trump train?" And this is what I told them. I said, if I find evidence or see things that are being done that goes against the Constitution, not against what a talking head says or whatever, but if it literally goes against the Constitution, I'm going to have a problem with it. I don't care if it's Trump or whoever.
Good. Yeah, that's a good, stance to have. And I had that moment a few Tuesdays ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I just couldn't be in support of this movement or ideology. I feel more myself with the Constitution Party. So for me, it feels like, all right, this is who I want to go to next. Let's see how it goes. I don't know, but we'll see.
Awesome.
All right, Jimmy. So thank you for always being here. You're always here every Tuesday night. Yes, if anybody is new watching, join us again next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Join early, join the chat, join the stage early so that you can get in on our conversations. I think it's amazing. More people are coming.
And we have no clue what's going to happen between now and next Tuesday. There's going to be something. There's always something. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Don't know what we'll be talking about next week.
Yep. And I don't plan these streams. I don't plan the title. I don't plan what I'm going to talk about. I just see my algorithm on X and I'm like bookmark, and then I make my title. Like that's how off the chain it is.
Through the week, Ruby and I are constantly sending each other different videos and different ideas of what to talk about. So yeah, we think about it all week long.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you next Tuesday. Bye.
Trump, yeah, okay, bury him a legend, yeah, Trump, hey, okay, America's biggest blessing, free speech advocate, packing, never lacking it, I just bought another gun and ain't nobody taking it, gang, okay, the White House going crazy now, MAGA season, tell them liberals they can't break us down, it's up, they know we run it, best believe it now, about to paint the city red, please don't burn it down.